It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this hump day edition. Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, we have a phenomenal show. And if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, if you're not following us on Facebook, what are you doing? All right, go to Facebook, okay? Type in SportsZone Chicago. And what you're going to do is you're going to click the thumbs up button. All right, and you're going to like us. All right, now, you can also go to Shawn and Maya in the morning as well on Facebook, and you can do the same there. Now, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, that's excellent. Okay, now, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, what in God's name are you doing? Okay, go to YouTube, type in SportsZone Chicago, and in addition to Shawn and Maya in the morning, you will get our 4 other live shows throughout the week. Okay, so make sure you do that. Make sure you click the subscribe button and take us with you on the go. Now, if you're listening to us on the app, that's even more excellenter. Okay. Now, if you haven't downloaded the app, what are you doing? What in God's name are you doing? All right. Wherever you get your apps from, Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, Walmart, Sam's Club, Walgreens, wherever you get your apps from. Okay. Type in SportsZone Chicago, download it. It's free 99, so you got to pay nothing. It's free 99. Take it, and you can download it. You can take us with you on the go. In addition to our live shows, we have a slew of podcasts. Guys, listen, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings or at SportsZone Shy, that's CHI. That's at SM_mornings or at SportsZone Shy, that's CHI. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, want to know what I did? I'll tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper, all one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram and you're an IGer, just follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. I bring him out. I know my guy is working hard back there. We got so much stuff we got to get together. I just want to send a quick shout out to my man who makes everything run smoothly. My Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas. He'll be on sometime in a little bit as he finishes up some last minute housekeeping duties. Listen, we have a great show, but we need you to get interactive. So whatever platform you're watching us on, okay, whether it be Facebook, whether it be our YouTube channel, or whether it be our app, whatever platform you're watching us on, do me a favor, okay? Leave a question or comment right there on that platform. And it'll come up here. And my super producer himself, Ivan, he will post it on the screen. Whew. Let me tell you something. We had first, let me give you the lineup. Because this is a full day. In addition to talking about stuff we didn't get to talk about on Monday. But guys, 10 o'clock, Zach Pearson from Bear Report. He's going to call in. He was at Hallis Hall yesterday. He might be there today too. I'm not positive. He's going to call in. Bears practice today. How freaking fired up are you? Because I am. If you look at me, I'm wearing my Bears gear today. My new hat I got over the weekend for my birthday. I wanted to send a big shout out to my guy, Mark Micah. Shout out to Mark. This is one of the birthday presents he gave me in addition to a Justin Fields jersey. I was blown away. Blown the freak away. Let me tell you, I was at the at my little just hanging out at Output on Sunday, and he met me up there and had a bag, and wow. So I have a white Justin Fields jersey. Let me tell you, I'm fired up about that. That's dope. In addition to the hat, check it out. Check it out. It's got GSH on the back, George Stanley Hallis, um, who was the founder of the Bears. So dope, dope, dope. Listen, our show is going to be awesome, and I'm excited to have our guest on today. I'm excited. The top of the morning topics coming up is going to be awesome. But again, we need you to get involved, get interactive wherever you're watching. Just leave a question or comment right there, and it'll come up on the screen. This weekend was insane. Okay, for all of you who have watched the show or followers of the show, it was my birthday weekend, and it was insane. Friday right after the show, we headed up to Milwaukee to catch the White Sox Brewers game. Didn't turn out very well for the White Sox, unfortunately. But you know what? It was a great, great, great time. And I have stories upon stories upon stories upon that day. And let me tell you something. It's going to be, we'll talk about them sometime during the show today, but if we can, because we have so much sports that we got to get to. Let me tell you something. I'm thinking about if you watch my my live, so Saturday night, technically Sunday morning at midnight, a little after midnight, my birthday started, and I did a Facebook Live. And if you saw that, you kind of saw what was one of the crazy stories I have from my birthday weekend. Started in Milwaukee, and it Shawn, what's up, Papa? How are you? Happy hump day. And yes, he did make an impact. But if you saw that my Facebook Live the other day, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I was telling you about my how awesome, how crazy it was my trip to Milwaukee. Yeah. Well, listen, guys, you know how we do. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
Just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Welcome back. Guess what? It's me, your boy. The first top of the morning topic. The White Sox, baby. Our White Sox yesterday beat the Kansas City Royals 5-3. Let me tell you, he was back, baby. He's back. He's running out third base like this. That's our man. The White Sox beat the Royals 5-3. Dylan Cease, he got to no decision. However, he went 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs to earn a walk, 6 punch-outs. Ray Lopez came in the following inning. He gets the victory. Ray Lopez, he's want to know, trade him right now. Liam Hendricks comes in for his 25th save. Michael Kopech came in for a hold. He struck out all 3 batters he faced. Listen, this team they needed this. Okay. Gavin Sheets, he was 1 for 3 with a homer, his 6th of the year, driving in his 15th run of the year, and in the top of the 8th with the White Sox trailing. Okay. 3-2. Our boy comes through. Eloy Jimenez, Mr. High Mom himself. He comes through with a huge 3-run homer yesterday, and the place was Jason Benetti's call was good. Sometimes his call is a little too dramatic, but I thought it was on point yesterday for the situation. Okay, for the situation. Eloy's first, or it's technically his second game back. He was actually playing the field yesterday. He was in left field, and he made a couple of nice nice defensive plays, which scare the heck out of me when he's out there and he's got to make plays. But he made some nice plays and he came through with the bat. This is why we need his bat in the lineup. He comes through with a huge 3-run homer. This is a no-doubter. He hits it. The dugout goes nuts. You know, he's fired up. As soon as he hit it, he knew. As soon as the pitcher saw it and heard the crack of the bat, he knew. And you watch it, we're going to get up in a second. You watch it, as soon as he hits it, the pitcher goes, and you know, he just tossed it up. He gave away the lead, and that was the deciding factor in a 5-3 White Sox win. You know, it is imperative that Eloy comes back and plays well. Okay, that is a trade pickup at the deadline. Eloy's bat. That is a huge pickup at the deadline, and we didn't have to lose any assets. Eloy's been he's been working hard. Okay, he's way ahead of schedule. And the exuberance with which he plays, the energy with which he plays is second to none. And, you know, right now this team needs a shot in the arm because they haven't been able to score runs. They haven't been able to get key hits. Okay, I was in Milwaukee on Friday. One run. So, you know, I think they scored 7 runs all weekend in Milwaukee. It's not going to get it done. Now, again, the sky's not falling. Okay. But what I'm seeing a pattern right now. And if this is another lull point, I'm okay with it. But they need to come out of it because if you watch baseball, you should know. You should know it ebbs and flows. And there's going to be a point in time where your offense and everyone on your offense is hot. And there's going to be a point when your offense is struggling and you have to manufacture runs. And right now, our offense is struggling. It's not hot. But with the addition of Eloy going into September, into August, okay, he could jolt. He could send a jolt through that lineup and get everybody back on track. If this lineup gets back on track, Lou Bob, and this is the next top of the morning topic. The next top of the morning topic, Lou Bob, Luis Robert, has graduated from single A Winston-Salem to triple A Charlotte in his rehab assignment, which means it's only a matter of time. He'll be back in 10 days, 6, 7, 10 days, something like that. You bring these two back, and they bring their arsenal, and they're ready. It seems like I was concerned about Eloy being ready the first game. He went 0-for. He drew the collar. But last night, boy, he was ready. You bring these two guys back. This is two huge two bats that you picked up at the deadline without losing any assets. Now, I still think you need to make a move or two. I would like a second baseman. Adam Frazier's off the market. I would like a left-handed reliever. Chafin from the Cubs is off the market. I would like one of those two. I would have liked one of those two guys. Okay. Chafin in particular, just because that left-handed relief arm is what we really need. If you see the way Kopech went to work yesterday, so you throw righty and then a lefty, so that's 7, that's 8, and then Liam Hendrick comes in the 9th? Come on now. You talk about shortening the game. That's a third of the game you're taking away from the opposing team. A third of the game. And then with the way the starting pitchers have been pitching most of the season, it's going to be a tough deal. It's going to be a tough deal. So, but we do need a left-handed arm. Garrett Crochet has not been getting it done the way I would like. I don't feel confident in Garrett Crochet. I just don't. Bummer? No. We need a left-handed reliever. We get a left-handed reliever. with Eloy coming back the way he did yesterday, with Lubob coming back shortly, we have first world problems. Something we're not used to. We're not used to on the South Side very much. I don't know. I don't know. I am looking forward to it. And here's the crazy part for me, being a Sox fan. Being a Sox fan, I haven't had this much excitement going into the stretch of a season in a long time. Okay? We knew this. This is where we expected this team to be. Last year, the year before, when this team was being constructed, we're like, yeah, they're about 2 years away, 2020, 2021. Okay, then 2020 got all shortened due to COVID. But the great thing about 2020 was the fact that you got to bring guys up, skipping the minor leagues and getting them directly into major league play. So you talk about throwing them right into the pool. You know, it's sink or swim. They did. They did. And they got their taste of Major League Baseball. Some did well, some not so successful. But you know what? They were all successful because they all got experience. They all got experience last year. Whether it be Vaughn, whether it be Zach Collins, Jake Berger made his debut this year. Some of the other young guys, experience. And it was only 60 games, but still 60 games is 60 games. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. So they came up this year. The vibe was different. It's a different vibe. You're not, I mean, technically you're rookies because you really only played, I mean, no one played all 60, but you played 40, 50 games last year out of the 60. But you're acclimated. You're acclimated to the speed. You're acclimated to the atmospheres. You're acclimated to some of the pitchers, especially the pitchers in the division. Okay, you're aware and you're comfortable. And when these guys this year, you can see every single time that we needed help due to the injuries of Eloy, due to the injuries of Lubob, due to the injuries of Madrigal, due to the injury of Tim Anderson, due to the injury of Yohan Moncada, due to the injury of Jose Abreu, Adam Engel, Adam Eaton when he was here. Somebody stepped up. One of these youngsters stepped up, whether it be Lamb, whether it be Vaughn, whether it be Gavin Sheets, whether it be Zach Collins. Every single one stood up. Why? Because most of them got some time last year up in the bigs. And that's huge. That's huge for them. Huge. So we'll have some more baseball talk later, 10:30. And that'll be after Zach Pearson. He's coming on at 10. The next top of the morning topic, the Cubs. The Cubs fall to the Cincinnati Reds 7-4. A little different from the day before, huh? What a difference a day makes. If you remember, Javi hits a walk-off single. Should have been a double, but technically a single. It's all I needed. And was taunting the pitcher. He's walking down the first base line with his bat, making a gesture like it's a broom, and he's yelling at the pitcher. He's halfway down the line. Wilson Contreras, who's on deck, sees the hit, realizes it's going to be the game winner, starts following Javi down the line, telling him, hurry up, get to first, because you have to tag first. And Javi throws the bat right toward the pitcher. So it sent Wrigley into a frenzy. Okay, that was a game. It was a walk-off hit. Wrigley was live, and Javi was doing Javi stuff. Then yesterday, different story. Rough day for the Cubs. 3 homers, though. Rizzo hit his 14th. Wisdom hit his 15th. And Bryant hit his 18th. All those guys driving in runs. Rizzo driving in 2. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough as the Cincinnati did I say Cincinnati? Silly me. Yeah, Cincinnati Reds. They were too strong. They were just too strong. Joey Votto was on fire, hitting 2 home runs yesterday. That was the difference for the Cubs. And a lot of me, part of me has to wonder how much all these trade talks are affecting this team. Okay. The trade deadline is Friday. Okay. They've already moved Jock Peterson. Andrew Chafin gets moved yesterday. This has got to be a mind blow to some players, I would think. You say the right things, and they talk about, well, you know what? I just go out there and play what I play here, play whatever. I try to think about that, but they're lying. They're lying. It's tough. That's a lot mentally that you got to deal with. Okay. It's not as easy to say, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to play for who I'm playing today. If I get traded, whatever. No, because here's the reason. Here's the reason why you can't. Players don't say, it doesn't matter. The guys that we're talking about have significant others and families. Javi Baez, Wilson Contreras is still possibly on the list. Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo. Now you're uprooting your family. Okay, or I'm sure you had to have had this conversation. If I go, are you coming with me? It's not like she has to work or anything, but do they want to just pick up and move into an apartment into a new city for 3 months, 4 months, because they may just be rentals, and and find a place in a new home in the off season with a long-term deal? Okay, pick it up and move in your family is tough. Is that something you want to do? Probably not. If your kids are already in school, okay, school, believe it or not, is starting already next week for some people. Can you believe that? Can you believe that school's starting already? Beginning of August? Yeah. So there's a lot of other things that are on the plate of these players, okay, that's tied to their being moved at the deadline. So it's not unfathomable or unbelievable that they have other stuff stressing them out in addition to just baseball. And I know sometimes we say, the court, the field, the rink is their solitude. They can kind of forget everything. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, depending on the issue. There he is. He's my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas. What's up, Papa? How we doing this morning, Monster?
Dude, I text you. You know how I'm doing this morning. I'm telling you, dude. I'm about to go off on this computer. I was about to take it out back and show it what it's show it I mean business. But yeah, man. Listen, you talk about the Cubs. That's yes and no. But I had mentioned before they were on this high in May and about whenever they had that combined no hitter against the Dodgers. Up until that point, they were on a super high, and then all of a sudden it was just drastic downfall in their play. It seemed like the body language changed significantly, and I pointed out maybe they had mentioned it then, hey, this is great, but we don't see it happening this year. No matter what we do, we don't see it happening this year, and they went from there. Like I said, the body language changed. The players started. Wilson Contreras is starting to speak out. You know what I mean? Him and Rizzo are getting into it. There's things that you haven't seen before. Awry in the clubhouse, and it's hey, maybe they told them then. Maybe they told them then, and it pissed everybody off. It kind of got feelings hurt. Guys didn't know what to do because this is the team that they've known. These guys have known this team, well, except for Anthony Rizzo. But he's been beloved by Chicago, so it's going to be hard for him as well. I just, it's maybe it was in. I think you're absolutely right. They heard it, they continue to hear it. It's been on them. It's been haunting them. Chris Bryant, shit, for the last 2.5 years. What are they going to do with Chris Bryant? And it's probably taken its toll. I feel like as a Cub fan, for me, I can't say I'm 100%. I'm watching the Cubs. If they're on, I'm watching them. I'm not, as enthralled as I was in every single game. But you got to find the guys that want that you could keep around. You got to find the guys that have that heart. I mean, Javi is all heart. You obviously saw that yesterday. Yesterday with that walk off, or 2 days ago with the walk off, which was hilarious. But you just got to find some more. I feel like sooner or later we're just gonna have to suck it up and realize, hey, Friday is 2 days away, and this might happen. It might be the Rays for Chris Bryant. It might be the Red Sox for Rizzo, and we're stuck with not stuck with Javi, but we roll with Javi. I think that's kind of the angle that's going right now, because I haven't heard anything about Javi going anywhere.
Yeah, that was a rumor yesterday, but it never really picked up any steam. My guy Mondo, the guy you met Sunday, he was texting me yesterday saying, you guys slept on Chafin. I was like, yeah, you're right. We did. You got a lefty coming out of the bullpen throwing the way he's throwing this year. That's 7, 8, and 9. I said Kopech, Chafin, and Hendricks. It doesn't matter the order. I mean, Hendricks is the ninth, but it doesn't matter. Kopech or Chafin and Kopech. It gets to Hendricks. It didn't matter. That's literally taking a third of the game away from your opponent. Literally, those three are taking a third of the game away. And with the way that this rotation has been pitching, you give me 6 strong innings, it's game, set, match. Game, set, match. Well, listen, let's take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago. Big move for the Blackhawks on Tuesday, acquiring goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury from Vegas in exchange for minor league forward Michael Häkkinen. Fleury set to count $7 million against the cap next season. It's the final year of his contract. He's the reigning Vezina Trophy winning goaltender. It's the first time in 20 years the reigning Vezina winner was traded before the season, after Buffalo traded Dominic Hasek to Detroit on the first day of free agency in 2001. The baseball trade deadline fast approaching. Following a 7-4 loss to the Reds on Tuesday, Boston has reportedly had preliminary talks with the Cubs about Anthony Rizzo. A 4-run 8th inning led the White Sox past Kansas City 5-3 on Tuesday. Eloy Jimenez with a 3-run blast in the 8th. The Sox are 60-41 atop the AL Central by 9.5 games over Cleveland. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
In some places, it's always rush hour, and the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything, and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
In some places, it's always rush hour, and the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
Hey, this is Gary Payton, and we listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Do that.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. Man, we're starting to pick up steam. Look at it. I love it. I like it a lot. The next top of the morning topic: the Blackhawks. You heard it on the update. The Blackhawks trade for Vezina Trophy winner. That means the best goalie in the damn game. The best goalie in the game, Marc-Andre Fleury. Here's the only issue, though, Ivan. Now he's contemplating retirement.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. He's older, but I mean, what were you expecting to get from him? I mean, were you expecting to get you expecting to get a guy that was going to be in his prime, like a guy that was going to be,
he just wanted
give
to
you one more year. I mean, what? Like he's contemplating retirement now.
But he just won the goaltender of the year in the Vezina Trophy. It's not like you're not getting a guy in his prime.
I understand that. But the guy's complimenting retirement. I mean, he's got to that's got to mean something to me. Like it's got to mean that he mentally is tired. If he's contemplating, unless he hates the Blackhawks that much, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Unless it's like a John Stark situation. I don't know what the hell's going. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like if the guy's contemplating retirement, what is he going to do for me on the ice? Like what is that? How does that make me feel right now? I don't know how to feel about this trade.
But you don't know how to. We don't know. It's not going to matter until he makes that decision. I mean, we can get upset about it or worry about it, but until he makes the decision, it's pointless for us to get upset about it. I hope he doesn't. I hope he decides not to retire. I hope he decides the fact that the other move that the Blackhawks made yesterday will get him excited. Okay, and the next top of the morning topic is the Blackhawks. They got rid of Brent Seabrook's contract. The Blackhawks trade Brent Seabrook and his horrific contract to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and in a salary dump. Okay, they trade Brent Seabrook and a 2023 second round pick for forward Tyler Johnson. He was a big cog in that wheel for their Stanley Cup championship. It's a salary dump, okay, for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They get Brent Seabrook's contract, but because he's retired, what happens is his money counts against the books opening day. But after opening day, his money comes off the books, and then they can go get somebody else. So, which is why they needed something else, which is why they got the second round pick. And I'll tell you what, this is good for the Blackhawks. You talk about all that dead money that we had harped on for the last 2 freaking years. Like they couldn't get out of these contracts. The Duncan Keith contract,
free,
and the Brent Seabrook contract. Brent Seabrook being more damaging because at least even though Duncan Keith wasn't playing very well, he was still playing. Okay, and he gave us his best every time he was on the ice. The Brent Seabrook situation, he wasn't playing at all. He had retired, but his money had to stay on the books. So they found a way. They were able to get that off, get it off the books, and wow.
Brent Seabrook's body failed him, and that's not trying to diminish what he did for the Blackhawks by any means. It's just the amount of time of hockey he played and the beatings he took. It took its toll. You know what I mean? How many injuries was he going to play through until something goes wrong on the ice? You saw it out there. There was times like at the end, around his last couple games, you could see this guy shouldn't be out on the ice. Like there shouldn't be any reason he should be out on the ice, but to get a paycheck for that, for that game or whatever. But his contributions when he was healthy, man, the guy was worth the contract. The Blackhawks thought he was worth the contract that he got. You know what I mean? But lo and behold, injuries took their toll on him and his body, and it's a sad end to what started out as could be a possible Hall of Fame career.
He was one of the best Blackhawks defensemen. I'd say the best Blackhawk defenseman is the guy that we just moved a couple of days ago or a week ago or so, and that's Duncan Keith. But those two paired together were unstoppable. Those two were awesome. The work that he did on the defensive end, in addition to the offensive end, okay, they still contributed to the offensive end as well. Best pair of defensemen, the best duo, I would say, in the Hawks history, and maybe the top 2. Duncan Keith would be the number 1. Seabrook, there's argument he could be 3 or 4, but still 2 top 5 defensemen paired together. That's one of the reasons we were able to win the cup 3 out of 5 years. Should be 4. Thank you. Don't
forget Nicholas Hjalmarsson. Hjalmarsson just retired recently, and he was a huge part. Like the Hawks had some great defensemen in this past, decade and
10 years.
the 10 years that they went on their little run, their run, and you got to give them credit. Like I said, Brent Seabrook healthy, you'd never know what could have been, because that guy was phenomenal when he was when he was 100%.
Yeah, it was, and for now, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for us as Blackhawks fans, because now we're out from underneath that contract. Now we have a forward here. Think of all of a sudden, dude, we're starting to stockpile some power, some potency. Okay, we're starting to look like easily a playoff team. Now, how deep we go, I don't know. That's going to be dependent on a couple of factors. Does Marc-Andre Fleury play? Okay, if he plays, we have as good a shot as anybody to go deep into the playoffs. Okay, Stanley Cup, I don't know if we're there yet, but deep, maybe a Western Conference Finals. We'll see. Don't forget, you still got Patrick Kane. You're getting the captain back. You have a whole bunch of young guys. You have Kirby Dach, who's coming back. You have a whole bunch of young guys who gained a lot of experience the last 2 years. Then you put him with a Tyler Johnson. You put a Marc-Andre Fleury between the pipes. All of a sudden, this team has a little different look. This is what you call a retool. A retool on the fly, really. A retool on the fly. And I'll tell you what, I like what they're doing. I like this thing. I didn't know how long the Hawks would be down. I was concerned it was going to be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 seasons. But with this, they're not going to be down long. And I think that's awesome for Blackhawks fans. If this comes through, if they could get one more player, I'm not sure where I'd want it to be. What am I saying? A defenseman. They can get another defenseman. The harsh criticism I've had of Bowman, okay, I know he's technically not the GM anymore, but I will give him his props. And maybe because he's not the GM anymore, because he got fired up, literally. This is why we're making moves. Sometimes you just need a different voice coming out of that offense. Sometimes. And someone with a little different view. Or we all have our own points of view and how we see things. We could be looking at the same situation and see different resolutions for it. And maybe the resolutions now are ones that are paying off. Because you know what it looks like, dude? It looks like this Blackhawk team is acting like a top franchise. That's what it's looking like. That's what it's looking like, dude. So, you know how we talked about the Bears and what they did this year? We talked about the Bears and their draft picks and the way they went about the draft, the way they went about signing free agents, the way they constructed their team in the offseason. It looked like football people making football moves. It looked completely different than anything we had seen before to this point. I'm talking about the Bears. Now we're starting to see something a little different here in Chicago. I'm trying to figure out who is he still the GM? I know he got bumped up. I thought there was I guess he technically is still the GM. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I guess he technically is. So if he's making the moves, what the hell happened to him? What the hell is going on to the point where he's starting to see things that everybody else is seeing? I always wondered that about people, about GMs. When they make some questionable moves and you're like, what are you doing? You need this. And again, I understand you can't just go get a guy. You need a trade partner. You need a dance partner. But you make it happen. That's your job. You make it happen. And right now it looks like Bowman is trying to make it happen. And
yeah, he's still sorry, Shawn. He's still the general manager, but he's added president of hockey operations to his title.
Oh.
Or the Blackhawks did. I don't know if I'm sure he can't just do
Excuse
it. The
me?
Blackhawks did. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he can say that. Yeah, I'm CEO. I'm general manager, CEO. I own this shit.
It's like I'm the president and vice president.
So he started to make some good moves, and hopefully his advisory committee, which I'm sure includes his dad, is man, they're doing him right. They're finally doing him right. And he's pulling the trigger, and he's taking these Hawks down a path where we might not have to rebuild over 3 to 5 seasons. We might not. Armando Lara Jr., what's up, Papa? How are you? Thank you for tuning in. So it's a lot of good things going on the West Side. We're snooping them over on the West Side. Okay. Bulls and their front office, they prepare for the draft. They don't have a first round pick, but that's another story. And then the Blackhawks. And here's the thing. They're still smack dab in the middle of an investigation of horrific allegations of sexual assault by one of their video coaches back in 2010. So they're in the middle of this. And here's a good thing to do, Stan Bowman. Make phenomenal decisions right now. Get us excited about the team and focus less on that scandal. Now, I am wondering, why have we not heard more about this? Why isn't this team being dragged through the mud because of this? Why? The outlets don't talk about it. The local news channels don't talk about it.
Nobody said a word about it since it came out. Since the day that it came out that there was an issue with sexual assault. I don't know what they're calling it. That was it. It was crickets after that. Blackhawks got real quiet. Everybody got real quiet in the city. Blackhawks actually we weren't even worried about the Blackhawks.
The only thing that came out was when they said that they're hiring an external law firm. That's the only thing that we've heard since then. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing how certain, people who got power, people who have some influence can kind of get this story buried. I'm not saying it's not happening or something, but it's just not in the forefront of our topics of conversation. And then the White Sox are doing good. You could do that. You could talk about that. And then the Justin Fields situation, we could talk about that. So there's a lot of other topics that are kind of pushing this to the background, but it needs to stay in the forefront because this is a lot more important than sports because of the nature of these allegations.
I could see it. I could see the ownership. Hey, open it up. Open the floodgates. Spend. Try to figure something out. Spend. These trades aren't that like they're not that big money deal, but they want these aren't necessarily just like, oh yeah, by the way we made a move. These are kind of significant. You made two big trades to get veteran guys who've been to the Stanley Cup, who've been through playoff battles. One who's coming off a great goaltending year. Tyler Johnson coming off another Stanley Cup. I feel like those moves are moves that should be like, whoa, the Hawks are going to go after it. The Hawks are going to go try to win a Stanley Cup or at least make the playoffs. And I feel like it's a little tainted now. Now that we're you realize, hey, remember like a couple weeks ago when they were being accused of sexual assault? It's like, they had accused of having a worker sexual assault somebody. It's this sticky situation, man. I don't know. I'm happy, but
being talked about though, and even though there's articles on it, I know the Athletic wrote about it, NBC Sports Chicago wrote about it. I know it's just not being talked about. I think it should be, and I hate to, I don't hate to do it. But my question is this: if this was another team, if this was an NBA team or an NFL team, there'd be a lot more talk about it. And I just don't understand why it's not getting the media coverage. maybe once the investigation concludes, you will have more. But I'm not a big fan of the way that this story has been able to have been buried to this point. And the only thing we've heard is, oh, now that the Blackhawks are hiring an external investigation crew or a law firm to internally look at this, an independent third party law firm. That's it. That's it. When allegedly, according to many players, quote unquote, everybody knew that the situation had happened. Everybody in the organization. Okay, so I'm thinking, if people are talking, saying everybody, if this is a situation that a lot of people claim everybody knows, how far up does everywhere go? Does it include Bowman? Don't forget, they got, in addition to that investigation, they got lawsuits going on too. They got lawsuits going on. Okay, the guy who was in question, the videographer,
Right.
He got a glowing letter of recommendation from the Blackhawks, which allowed him to go work with kids, and he sexually assaulted someone else over there, allegedly. So if he allegedly sexually assaulted someone else over there, the parents are saying, well, why did this guy get a rave letter of recommendation from you if you knew this is what he did? Because there would be there's no way on God's green earth that you can write a letter of recommendation for a person that's accused of sexual assault.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions. Like I said, just the accusation alone, it's kind of a damning thing.
Yep.
But it being against a minor, at the time.
Well, I don't know. I think that might have been 19 or 20. It got the Hawks, dude. Might have been 19 or 20. The minor was after. The minor was after he left the Hawks.
After, that's right. Okay, but I mean, he's still that young. It wasn't like, oh yeah, this guy's like a 27-year-old man, and this guy went ahead and tried to rape him. He was just coming out, like he just got drafted to the Hawks, young. I feel like he's still, it's still being taken advantage of, even though he is an 18-year-old man. Like the kid, he's still a kid. You know what I'm saying? He's still a kid. So, like I said, the Blackhawks they're all in the right to go ahead and make their team better. But don't forget that they're also in a very sticky situation with this sexual assault case, and I feel like it's going to linger throughout the season, no matter what. I mean, the best thing that the players could do is play, because they had nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure, I would hope. Like who's left? Kane and Taze? Like shit. I hope they had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So like, just go out there. If you're a player, go out there and play. But as an organization and as fans, just remember that. Remember what they're dealing with right now, because it's not pretty.
The last top of the morning topic: Olympic gymnast Simone Biles withdrew from the team competition the other day, and the girls went on to win the gold medal. Oh, it's the silver medal. The Russian Olympic Committee, took first place. Biles, up until this morning, Biles had not decided whether she was going to be she was going to compete in the individual Olympics and individual events. But from my understanding this morning, across multiple sources, says that she is not going to compete. This was a firestorm yesterday when it happened. This was a firestorm. There are a lot of people who are on either side of the fence. And my take is this. This is the Olympics. This is not something that you haven't done before. And I am never one to shit on anybody for taking care of their own mental health. Okay. I am one, though, that is a proponent of saying, if it's a team sport, then you let your team know immediately. All right. Armando Lara Jr. calls us a quitter. A lot of people would agree with you. Okay. I think it should have been done before she went to the Olympics. You knew what the pressure was going to be like. You've experienced this pressure before. Now it may be a little more intense now because you're the heavy favorite, the thing that got me is that, she says, I didn't want to cost my team a medal. Well, you did. You did. Because you guys were the heavy favorites to win the gold. There was, barring an injury or a massive collapse, you were taking the gold. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So you stepping away while you're in Tokyo, not before. You're talking about girls had to go and do the uneven bars. It's like, oh, get your straps on. Like, whoa, what? What? How's that? What? I'm not. I will never talk shit about or criticize a person for taking care of their mental health. But when you're a part of a team, the needs of the team come first. And I know you're the most decorated and probably not even arguably the best gymnast in the history of the Olympics. But it doesn't give you a right to fuck over your girls like that. And I'm not saying, trust me. And here's the thing. They're like, oh, my girls are silver medalists. I'm so proud of them, blah, 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 blah. That's bullshit. Because it should have been gold. It should have been gold because if when you take a star athlete out, you are not going to win. Like that. So I hope she's able to take care of herself. And when they said she was undecided, I said if she even decides to go into the individual events, the all-around events, she better not even think about going into that. Because if you have to step away because the pressure's too hard, then you step away because the pressure's too hard or too difficult to deal with. And don't leave your team, but yet go for individual honors. Where's the pressure then?
I think that's what she did. I think that's what it is. The individual she's dropping out of.
No, she did. She did drop out of them. She dropped
right.
out this
So
morning.
yeah, stay out of them. That's fine. I don't.
Smart PR move.
I just don't buy. Why'd you even compete? You know what I mean? Why did you compete? If you felt that way about your performance while with the team, you know what I mean, with the group, with your girls, if you felt that way then, why not just pull out and say, hey man, get somebody else who's mentally ready to compete? Like I can't do this right now. Why didn't you do that beforehand? Like you said, I thought you said it perfect. Like, why wasn't this done before? Like I feel like it's weird. Like I want to feel. I agree. She should step away if she feels if she feels like she can't do it. Man, hell yeah, step away. If you can't do it mentally, step away. Mm-hmm. But you did it in the middle of the Olympics. You know what I mean? You did it in the middle of everything.
You shit on your girls. You shit on your teammates.
Yeah, and it feels it feels like you're a quitter. It feels like it almost feels like you should have been out of there prior to. Like, did we get your best performance? You got the silver medal as as a team. Was that your best performance? No. Then if that wasn't your best performance, why even compete? You know what I'm saying? Like for me, if I'm not 100% on playing, or if I don't care about a game, I'm not going to compete. I'm not going to play. I don't understand why she did. It's weird. Money, pressure, I don't know. But it's up to her. It's her decision. She's going to have to live with it now.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to talk a little more about this later. But we got to take a quick break. And yeah, I have very interesting feelings on this. Okay, a perspective. If it's an individual event and you step away, fine. But you're accountable to your teammates. Okay, and I don't care if you're the most decorated gymnast in the history of the Olympics or not. You're still part of a team, and you're still accountable to those girls. And it should have been done beforehand. And trust me, I'm not telling you. Listen, I am all for taking care of your mental health. Okay, but there comes a point where sometimes you have to fight through certain things. Okay, I don't know the pressure she was under. I don't. But I just know there's a lot of other people who've gone through, hell, Carrie Strug. Okay, you want to talk about pressure? Carrie Strug on a fucking damn near broken ankle. She had a severely sprained ankle. Okay, sticks the fucking landing off the bar, the Palmer horse. It's not pressure. That's not sucking it up for your teammates. And I part of me hates to do this because she's a black girl. Okay, but it really does. But let's call it like it is. Okay. She said, and here's Big Z says, if she isn't right and would hurt the team more than she could help it. Well, she hurt the team already because they're locked for gold, and she withdrew. So all of a sudden, the best they could do is silver, which they did. But we'll talk about this a little later. We got to switch gears because you know what today is, baby. You see how I'm dressed. You see how I'm dressed. I am fired the freak up, man. The Bears hit the field today at Hallis Hall. We're going to talk to our guy Zach Pearson, and I want to hear what he's got to say. Interviews and pressers yesterday. Everybody's saying the right things. Everybody's saying the right things. Oh, we're going to do this. It's a good year. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Now let's Ryan Pace bought himself some time. Ryan Pace is out of the spotlight. He drafted your quarterback. He drafted the quarterback that you wanted. So Ryan Pace is off the clock. It's all Matt Nagy. We're going to talk to Zach Pearson on the other side. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago. Big move for the Blackhawks on Tuesday, acquiring goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury from Vegas in exchange for minor league forward Michael Häkkinen. Fleury set to count $7 million against the cap next season. It's the final year of his contract. He's the reigning Vezina Trophy winning goaltender. It's the first time in 20 years the reigning Vezina winner was traded before the season after Buffalo traded Dominic Hasek to Detroit on the first day of free agency in 2001. The baseball trade deadline fast approaching. Following a 7-4 loss to the Reds on Tuesday, Boston has reportedly had preliminary talks with the Cubs about Anthony Rizzo. A 4-run 8th inning led the White Sox past Kansas City 5-3 on Tuesday. Eloy Jimenez with a 3-run blast in the 8th. The Sox are 60-41 atop the AL Central by 9.5 games over Cleveland. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
In some places, it's always rush hour, and the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything, and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
In some places, it's always rush hour, and the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. It is one of the best days. This day is like, this is pitchers and catchers report, or yesterday technically was like pitchers and catchers reporting. Okay, because then now they're in training camp. Now they're in Arizona or Florida, whatever team you root for. Or I'm a Sox fan, and Ivan's one of those people, so they're in Arizona too. Okay. And when you say training camp starts and the veterans come in, okay, we put our baseball rivalry aside. The White Sox and that other team up there up north, okay? And there was a sign on 290 coming in. It was right around First Avenue. So you're coming in off of 290. This was years ago. It was a Miller Lite sign. I'll never forget it. And this is the best way to describe this city. It said, baseball divides us, and football unites us. I'm like, you could not have encapsulated Chicago more succinctly than that. My next guest is a guy who's covered the Bears, and I am fired up to talk about this with this dude. He covers the Bears for thebearreport.com. He's more fancy. He's a member of the Pro Football Writers Association. Oh, you fancy, huh? You know, my guy. You can find him on Twitter at Zach_Pearson. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Zach Pearson. Zach, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to be back on.
I know, Mr. Fancy Pants, Mr. Pro Football Writers Association of America. Cool dude.
Just a little bit. I'm not as cool as it looks.
Oh, good shit, man. Hey, listen, man. So yesterday's pitch to catch reported in the football sense. Dude, how fired up was everybody? We saw the video. We saw Khalil Mack pimping. He's walking in. We saw Justin Fields. We saw Andy Dalton. We saw Eddie Goldman. Dude, talk to me on you, not the professional Zach Pearson covering the Bears, but you as a Bear fan. How excited were you to see all these guys back?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think in the sense of football, there's a lot of excitement. Obviously, Justin Fields is the big storyline with this team. But overall, just kind of getting back to normal, getting to a place where, like, we're now finally talking about real football practices. I mean, technically OTAs and voluntary stuff is real football practices, but they're not really doing a whole lot in June. And now this is where everything kind of ramps up. This is where there's practices every day, essentially, with a couple of days off. You're going to see the first team offense against the first team defense. You're going to see, Justin Fields get a shot going against the defense. It's just nice to see that now we're flipping over to August and we're finally have some football. And I was talking about this last night, actually, with the co-host of my podcast, Aaron Lemming, and it feels like this offseason's been 2.5 years because, I mean –
who are you telling? Man.
It's crazy. Even with the Justin Fields excitement, it's like last
year. A year ago.
Yeah, it feels like forever. I mean, last year, it was – training camp wasn't even started yet. I mean, training camp didn't start till first or second week of August, and it wasn't even a normal, type offseason. There was no preseason games. Really, at this time, we didn't even know what the heck was going to go on with football. We knew they were going to play, but it was just going to be like kind of almost a watered down product without the fans. Now it feels like everything's back, and it just feels like everything's going normal. Obviously, I'm not saying anything like COVID's done or anything like that, but at least there's something that is here, and we kind of have some normalcy, especially getting back to Hallis Hall, seeing the players. And now they're on the practice fields today for the first time, which will be awesome to go out and see.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm like a kid in a candy store when I start to see film of them in practice, clips of them in practice today, and I'm fired up. Other than Justin Fields, who's the guy that you want to see in on the practice field? Obviously, everybody wants to see him. That's low-hanging fruit, and for obvious reasons. And we're not going to worry about it because we're going to see him in preseason. He's going to play a lot of preseason games, get him acclimated to the speed of the game, and blah, 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 blah. But who's for you, Zach? Who's the guy you want to see in this training camp?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a couple. If I had to go with one guy, I would probably say I'm really interested to see Kendall Vilder. I think he's been praised a lot this offseason by Matt Nagy. His teammates have praised him, and he's kind of in a battle for that outside cornerback job. To kind of add another name to that list, I'll stay at the position, Jalen Johnson, too, because I think he's got a lot of responsibility now. I think the defensive back position on this offense, or on this defense, has probably the most question marks of all. Obviously, we know about the quarterback competition. We know, the questions if Justin Fields is going to start, what are they going to do with Andy Dalton, what are they going to do with Nick Foles. But, I mean, I like Jalen Johnson. I thought he was a great pick, but he still hasn't proven he can play a full NFL season healthy. I don't think he's played a full healthy season since his first year at Utah or maybe even high school. And I think he could step in and be a good number one defensive back. However, he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to show that this year. And then opposite of him, who's going to be that guy out there, and then who's going to be the guy in the slot? So I'll be kind of watching all those defensive backs because I think that's going to be fascinating. And the guys that they're going up against in practices are also in training camp battles. I mean, you look at the wide receiver position.
Yep.
You have a bunch of guys fighting for essentially 6 spots. I don't think they're going to keep 7. So pretty much 6 spots. And you remove Anthony Miller from the equation, that kind of opens things up a little more. And on that side, I'd be looking at Marquise Goodwin, see if he can kind of continue his strong start to the offseason. Darnell Mooney, I mean, you know what you're going to get from Allen Robinson. Darnell Mooney's another guy that I'm hoping takes another step forward. I would be really excited to see Daz Newsome. I don't know when we're going to see him, though. That's the only thing. Hopefully sooner than later.
That clears up a spot for now. You can put him on a PUP list, which you think that way to put him in a PUP list?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the PUP is physically unable to perform list. It's just acronym for the PUP. So in case you're wondering if you hear a term that you're not familiar with, guys, we're joined by Zach Pearson from thebearreport.com talking little Chicago Bears football on the first day of practice at training camp for the Bears right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. For me, man, I'm looking at Jenkins. I want to see this guy solidify that left tackle spot, because if he solidifies that left tackle spot, wow, this offense is going to have a phenomenal year, because I'm not worried about the middle three. All right, we got like 7 guys who fight for those 3 spots, but 4 or 5, and 5 of them have experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the good part. So I'm not worried, and plus that's your run game. But if you can start to get that left tackle, and Andy Dalton doesn't have to worry, and he can feel comfortable in the pocket for an extra second or so, or Justin Fields, whoever's in there, depending on the situation, this offense is going to be a lot more potent than most people think. So for me, it's Tevin Jenkins, and I really hope he's able to use his nastiness. Talk to me about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that's Matt Nagy. His play calling is going to determine this offense, how it goes, because he's a play caller, not just because he's a play caller, but it's because how he calls plays. Do you think after we've self-scouted, we do this, we do that, we do this, we do that. Do you think he's going to make a commitment, more of a commitment to the run, because he's only got like 17 stud running backs in his stable? Do you think he's going to make a commitment to the run this year, which is really going to help his quarterbacks?
I mean, we'll have to wait and see till they actually get on the field in week 1. I mean, they can say that they are all off season. They can say, yeah, we're going to get David Montgomery 20 carries. Yeah, we're going to kind of focus on the run. But I mean, if he doesn't do it in the regular season, it's just not going to matter at all. And I think, this offense is set up now, depending on who's at quarterback, because as much as they've been trying to go deep and add in, longer passes and kind of pick up bigger chunks through the air so far this offseason, I think Justin Fields is obviously best suited for that than Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton can do it, but I think Justin Fields is probably better suited to that. I think the run game would help both of them. I think, a good run game is a quarterback's best friend, especially a young quarterback. Andy Dalton, as a veteran coming in, learning the system, it will help him out a lot as well.
Preach, Zach, preach.
I don't know if he's going to stick to it. I would be, I think it's fair to be concerned of Matt Nagy taking over the play calling duties again. It really didn't shock me when he said it earlier in the offseason. Kind of knew it was coming. He's a guy that, he was going to do it last year, kind of see how it went, and he was going to eventually take it over. He actually took it over again last year. Towards the end of the year, he was calling a lot of the plays as well. So, yeah, it's tough to say because, training camp really won't show us that, because they're just going to run their plays and no matter what. So it's not going to be like an actual game flow. I think the first hint we might get at it might be preseason, but even then you're kind of still just going through the motions at some time.
Right.
So I think, we'll see it first couple of weeks. And I mean, I think he's going to have to kind of stick to the run. I think, the Bears franchise has always been defense and run, but Matt Nagy's kind of in a rough spot here. And essentially, everyone wants him to run the football, and the NFL trends are saying, you have to throw more. So it's kind of not even, can he just commit to the run? It's can he just find that perfect balance where he can commit to the run, but also have an offense that's more pass oriented? I think you can do both. We just haven't seen it yet from Matt Nagy. We've just seen too much of one thing and not enough of the other so far. And that's kind of where he's gotten in trouble. And I do think the quarterback play will help him. I think having a quarterback like Justin Fields, if he turns out to be really good, will help him. As much as Matt Nagy deserves a criticism, I do think there is an argument to be made that, his quarterbacks have kind of put a wrinkle into what he's wanted to do over the past. And last year, I think last year just kind of just solidified that. Neither of them really played that well. I mean, Mr. Trubisky played well at the end of the year, but neither of them were kind of good. And I think, to your point again, a good offensive line is really going to help, because when the Bears figured out that offensive line last year towards the final 6 games or so, it kind of started to feel like, okay, things are starting to look better. They can do more in the run game. The quarterbacks are kind of playing a little better down the stretch. So offensive line is probably going to be the key for that answer, to be honest.
Well, you're running the ball, all right, and there's a saying along defensive line coaches from college, from high school to college to pros, that you have to earn the right to rush the passer, which means you have to stop the run. And when the Bears are running, we weren't hearing about Charles Leno last year. Why? Because we're running the ball. You're asking him to move forward. Not
kind of hiding him a little bit.
Yeah, you're hiding. That's exactly it. And because if you're at that level, most likely you're a decent run blocker, or at least getting the guy's way. And David Montgomery didn't need a lot. He didn't need pancakes to get his yards. Yep. So this is why I say I hope Matt Nagy understands that, because if you remember back in 2018, when Patrick Mahomes won the MVP, he had the league's leading rusher. Okay, people forget about that, about Kareem Hunt. Okay, so it can happen, and I hope if he takes anything from that, from Andy Reid or Eric sleeping with Bieniemy, he takes that, saying, "Hey, listen, I can still have the league's leading rusher and still have a guy throw for 30, 40, or God forbid 50." Oh my God, don't even get me excited like that, dude. 50 touchdown passes. So it can be done. It has been done. He just needs to go find that blueprint, because if he can, I'll tell you what, if he gets us deep into the playoffs, dude, he's gonna make a lot of people, myself included, eat some crow, and I have no problem with that, because that means you would have self-adjusted and you would have seen what makes his team work, and that is a sign of a good coach.
Yeah, and I also think a lot of people are fixated on this 20 number for David Montgomery. Rightfully so. I don't even think they need to get him to 20. I think if you're in a situation where you're winning and it's kind of fourth quarter, obviously you want to run the ball, but now they have a couple more running backs they added to this room. Then you kind of take that workload off of David Montgomery a little bit, and that's not a bad thing at all.
No, not at all.
David Montgomery would love to finish top 5 in rushing, but David Montgomery would also like to get to the playoffs and win games. And if that means he's got 15 carries in the fourth quarter, and you want to bring in Damian Williams, or you want to bring in, Khalil Herbert or Tavius Pierce, or whoever it is that's going to be the number 3 running back behind Tariq Cohen, I think that's fine, because you'll give them a couple extra carries, take the workload off of David Montgomery's back. But right now, Matt Nagy has kind of the blueprint now. I mean, he's got a running back who looks like he's going to break out big time in his 3rd year. And can he just get him the ball? Can the offense kind of live by going through the run game while also mixing in the pass, no matter who the quarterback is? I think there's just a lot of variables to kind of throw into this whole thing, because we don't know who's going to be starting week 1 either. So it's like, what's it going to be with Andy Dalton? What's it going to be like with Justin Fields? How's the run game going to help both of them? Be kind of fun to watch. And I'm curious to see if Matt Nagy, what he has learned, because if you listened yesterday, I thought he said something that was very interesting. And he was asked about, how do you kind of go into this year with these expectations and the excitement? And he said, we're not even thinking about the past. We're not thinking about 2018. We're not thinking about 2019. We're not thinking about 2020. I thought that was kind of interesting, because to me that tells me, okay, everything's kind of out the window now. We're kind of starting to reshape our philosophy, what we want to do. We want to put our offense into motion. And I think we haven't even seen Matt Nagy's full offense yet. I think I criticize him about screen passes and stuff like that. I don't think he likes doing it. I just think nothing was working, essentially. And they're just like, whatever, let's just throw these screen passes out there and stuff like that. But I think we're actually going to see, if Matt Nagy's telling the truth and they don't care about the previous years and it's out of their heads, I think we're finally going to see a little bit more of what he wants his offense to be. And it helps if Justin Fields pans out to be the quarterback they think he is.
Yeah, it helps out a little bit. Yeah. My thing is just, with Matt Nagy was just his inability to mold his offense to the skill set of his players, which he already said he's going to do that to Justin Fields. I'm like, well, you had a guy last year who you saw was efficient, okay, when used properly, and he didn't do that. So, as you said, I hope he's happy with his new toy, and whenever he gets to the reins, the keys to the palace, that now Justin Fields can really move forward, and Matt Nagy, okay, can have his offense run the way he wants, because we know this was a Matt Nagy pick, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably the best quarterback coming out of the draft. I mean, head to head, him and Trevor Lawrence, it was nothing enough said. Let's talk some more about this offense before we switch over to defense real quick. This tight end position, they got like 17 guys. Okay, talk to me about this position, how huge it's going to be. You got Jimmy Graham, you got Cole Kmet. You signed Jake is it Jake Butt from Michigan? You signed the outlaw Jesse James. You've got a lot of people in this position at this position. Who do you think stays? How many do you think they're going to keep?
I think they're going to keep 3 for sure. There's potential for 4. I think it's going to be Kmet, Graham, James. I think they'll try to keep Bud around, maybe the practice squad. Really with a position like this, when I look at tight end, it's all going to rely on Cole Kmet and his development. You know what you're going to get from Jimmy Graham at this point in his career. Mm-hmm. If he gets to the production he got to last year, great. If not, you can question keeping him on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
But
over 24.
Yeah, you can keep him, on the roster. What you're going to kind of get from him or kind of expect. I think it's just it's going to depend on Cole Kmet. I mean, they've kind of invested in this guy, and so far, he's been all over the field in the June practices, blocking and catching. He's kind of like their hybrid do-it-all tight end. And that's what they kind of need, because this is going to be Jimmy Graham's last year here no matter what. So The future is going to be Cole Kmet. The 2 guys behind them, though, are a little intriguing, because I think Jesse James is a really good run blocker. And, he can he can come in and play on a couple snaps a game in run blocking situations. He's not a bad pass catching tight end. So he can offer that as well. It's not, when he's in the game, you're always going to run. You can always kind of mix things up. Jake Butt's a little interesting too. He was a pretty good prospect out of Michigan. I don't know if he's going to be able to make an impact right away. He's kind of a guy you're maybe banking on, keep around the practice squad, kind of learn a little more. And then after that, they just kind of got a bunch of guys fighting for essentially practice squad positions. But when you look at these battles, a thing for Jake Butt is going to be, can he play special teams too? Can he be a special teams contributor? Because if you're kind of fighting for a roster spot, the special teams is an added bonus. So overall, I'd say the position, it's going to run through Kmet. It's going to be, can Kmet develop into what they want him to be in his second year? Can he take that next step? Because we saw flashes of it. And if you watched last season, as the year went on, he outsnapped every tight end as the games went on. Jimmy Graham, Demetrius Harris, the other 4 or 5 they had throughout the year. So keep an eye on Cole Kmet. He'd be the guy that is probably going to tell you what you need to know about this position.
Zach, last question before we let you go, buddy. We're going to switch sides of the ball. We're going to talk about this defense. Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn. What years do you anticipate them having? Akeem Hicks is back. He is he's healthy. Eddie Goldman is back. He's healthy. He had a year off, so his body is completely healthy. Bilal Nichols finally gets to move back to the left end spot where he was really starting to emerge, and so he gets back to his favorite position. You got Roquan and Danny Trevathan still running the middle. Roquan is, he's one of the top linebackers in the NFL. But I want to know how you feel this edge rush duo that we have is going to do, because you have the guys in the middle, the Akeem Hicks, the Eddie Goldman, and the Bilal Nichols, to eat up a lot of blocks. How effective is our pass rush going to be? I'm just talking Robert Quinn and the guy Khalil something or other, March or Mac, whatever his name is.
It has to be better. It has to be better than last year, because it was just not good. And Robert Quinn was very disappointing. I thought Barkevius Mingo was a lot better last year than Robert Quinn was on that edge. Now Mingo's kind of got his own personal issues going on. So Bears kind of dodged the bullet by bringing him back. They have to be better. I think you kind of said it. I think the key is going to be Eddie Goldman. And I don't think the key is Eddie Goldman for just the edge rushers. I think it's for a lot of the defense, because like you said, he's going to eat up a lot of blocks on the inside. Nose tackle is not a position you just kind of pick up and play one day. No, you're kind of like born into being a nose tackle. You start that young. You're either on the offensive or the defensive side.
Hey, you look squatty. Squatty kid.
It's like almost like the dirty position. No one wants to do it, because it's so physical down there, and your goal is essentially eat up as many blocks as you can and get as physical, as nasty as you can. And Eddie Goldman does that very well. So I think that opens up things for Akeem Hicks, opens up things for Bilal Nichols. Nichols played there a a lot last season, and that's just not his natural spot. That's just he's not comfortable. Like I said, you have to kind of be born into it. It's not something you pick up. I think in terms of the outside, the edge rushers, Mac is going to be double teamed and he's going to be chipped. The key for him, he's got to just be healthy the whole year. He's got to enter this year healthy. Those nagging injuries really don't help. He's going to see those double teams. He's going to see those chips no matter what. He's got to get through those. But you can live with Mac getting chipped and double teamed if you have someone on the other side producing. They didn't have that. And Robert Quinn had 2 sacks last year. That's not going to get it done. They said Quinn came in early this year for training camp, so we'll see. They say he looks good. But if you remember in, I believe it was mandatory mini camp, he sat out most of it or all 3 days because he had a nagging little back injury. So that's something kind of monitor. And this is one of those positions I do not really like the depth behind the edge rushers right now. I think if you have to go to those guys, nothing against Jeremiah Adechu or anyone else they have, Travis Gibson. I'm just not confident because Travis Gibson hasn't showed me yet that he could be a legit edge rusher. Can it happen? Possibly. But if the 2 guys up front aren't getting it done, the Bears are going to be in trouble in terms of getting to the quarterback. And that also helps the secondary because you have questions in the secondary right now. But if you can get to the quarterback and the shorter time the secondary has to cover, the easier job that they're going to have.
You know what? It's going to give this one guy that I'm really looking forward to a chance. It's a kid out of Virginia, and it is what's his name? Snowden. That dude.
Yeah, Charles Snowden.
That dude is. I was a big fan. When they signed him, I did a little homework on him. I actually found some film on him, and just liked a lot of what this guy's doing. He reminds me similarly of Mark Anderson back in 06. And he could be that's designated, assassin. And, third down, you don't got to rush a pass. You don't have to stop the run. You don't have to worry about ball fakes, see ball, get ball.
Yep.
Just pin your ears and go back. So hopefully, we can get some depth behind them in the event that someone gets hurt, because you really have to hate to try and find a defensive end or a pass rush specialist, let me say, that week. So hopefully it develops. No, it's not. That's why they get paid the big bucks if you can rush the specialist. Hey, Zach, great stuff, Papa. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at Zach, ZACK_Pearson. You can follow the Bear Report on Twitter. It's just Bear Report. A lot of stuff. I think we've got 4 or 5 articles up today. I'll be at practice today, so give me a follow. I'll tweet what I can. I know we're kind of under restricted limits today, so just follow along. And I'm excited. Hopefully, get back on soon sometime. So let me know.
Awesome, buddy. I appreciate it, man. Great stuff as usual.
Take it easy.
All righty, thank you, guys. That was Zach Pearson from the Bear Report talking. Got me a little fired up, dude. Got me a little fired up. I'm excited. I'm really, really, really excited. Michael, you bring up a good point. Like, you only have 5 offensive linemen. Okay. Yeah. You have 1 tight end, maybe. Okay. That's 6 people. Okay. Khalil Mack is going to command a double team. That's 2. Akeem Hicks should command a double team. That's 4. And then if you have, and I'm not even having to mention Eddie Goldman. Eddie Goldman needs a double team, because if you don't double team Eddie Goldman, he is going to kill you. He will destroy you. He will screw up your whole offense. Run, pass, it doesn't matter. Then you still have Bilal Nichols, who's emerging at the end spot before he had to go to nose last season because Eddie Goldman opted out. Then you still got Robert Quinn on the other side. So this is looking, in theory and on paper, it should work. The game isn't played on paper, so we're gonna see. And those guys need to step up. They need to earn their money, and they need to get this defense back. And the thing about it is, you have the players, you got the squad to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you got the squad. Like in 06, like we knew what they had. We know what we have this year. We got the squad. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We got that front 7 for the Bears. That front 7 could go down as legendary if they all perform. Easily the top 5 defense in this league if they perform. If they perform is the operative phrase. Listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have more sports conversation. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago. Big move for the Blackhawks on Tuesday, acquiring goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury from Vegas in exchange for minor league forward Michael Häkkinen. Fleury set to count $7 million against the cap next season. It's the final year of his contract. He's the reigning Vezina Trophy winning goaltender. It's the first time in 20 years the reigning Vezina winner was traded before the season after Buffalo traded Dominic Hasek to Detroit on the first day of free agency in 2001. The baseball trade deadline fast approaching. Following a 7-4 loss to the Reds on Tuesday, Boston has reportedly had preliminary talks with the Cubs about Anthony Rizzo. A 4-run 8th inning led the White Sox past Kansas City 5-3 on Tuesday. Eloy Jimenez with a 3-run blast in the 8th. The Sox are 60-41 atop the AL Central by 9.5 games over Cleveland. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
In some places, it's always rush hour, and the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything, and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
In some places, it's always rush hour, and the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. Just got off with Zach Pearson from BearReport.com talking Bears football. He's going to be at practice later today. And let me tell you something. I am fired up about this season coming up. Listen, it is a season where there's a lot that could go right for this Bears team. A lot that we expect to go right for this Bears team. And it is if they don't get to the playoffs, and I know 12 reported up there, but if they don't get to the playoffs, this will be a wasted season. Not a complete waste, because if they don't get to the playoffs, Justin Fields will definitely see some extended time, and that's not a loss by any stretch. But from a team perspective, it would be a loss. I'm anxious to see all these different storylines. You know, the competition, that was one of the things that they said yesterday. They wanted this to be about competition, except the quarterback position, except that. Everything else is competition. There's a lot of battles that we talked about with Zach Pearson right now, the that are going to be worth watching and noting. Okay, it's going to be worth noting for the tackle spot. Is Larry Borum or Jermaine Ifedi going to get that right tackle spot? I think they should have someone pushing Tevin Jenkins on the left-hand side. Okay. The guard and center position. That's a whole cluster mess to begin with. All right. You got Alex Bars, you have James Daniel, you have Cody Whitehair. Those three guys for two positions. You have Sam Mustipher, but you also have Dieter Eisen for the center position. So there's quite a few people, all these guys who have experience. So we're going into this season, okay, especially in the front three. And to me, the middle three are the most important for the run game. But you're getting guys with tons of experience, okay. And I'm sorry, Alex Bars. I forgot to mention you. So you got Alex Bars, you got Cody Whitehair, you have James Daniel, okay. Those guys are fighting for the two guard spots, which I assume Daniel and Whitehair are gonna take. It's fine. And then Mustipher and Dieter Eisen for the center position. We got guys up who played. So it doesn't matter what combo. We have guys with NFL experience. The tackle spot, another one. Ifedi, you would hope he could hold down that right tackle spot, but Larry Borum, can he get a little crazy? Can he get a little crazy and be productive? Tevin Jenkins. They did sign offensive lineman. I want to say from the San Francisco 49ers. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. So there might be some competition for Tevin Jenkins, which we need. So there's all these other different position battles. We didn't even get to the wide receiver core with Zach. With Anthony. Well, he did mention it. Anthony Miller gone. I think that was the best for both parties. He's got a new spot. He's got a chance to make a new living. Just make a name for himself over there, away from here. Too much bad blood from both parts. So my best to him, Anthony Miller. You better take that Memphis grind and get back to it down in Houston. And I hope you do very well for this season and and every season moving forward. But you talk about Bird, you talk about Goodwin, you talk about Mooney, you talk about Riley Ridley, you talk about Javon Wims. These are all guys that are trying to find. I mean, how many wide receiver spots are there going to be? 4, maybe 5. Okay, there's a lot of position battles that are going to be going on this year, and on this offense. So I can't wait to see it play out. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. But let's switch gears. Let's switch gears and talk a little baseball, baby. White Sox yesterday, we talked about them. This was a huge game for the White Sox. Eloy came back the day before. He went 0-for. He drew the collar. And I was like, okay, it's his first game back. It's fine. I wanted to see him continue his youthful, joyful exuberance. That's what I wanted to see from him. And I saw it. I also want to see that power stick that he's got go yard soon. He did it. He did it in grand fashion. It wasn't a walk-off. It was the top of the 8th. The Sox still had a bat in the 9th because we're the road team, so we bet. But it was a point in the game where you're like, oh, no, man, we got a chance to break it open, take the lead, and we do. How many times have we seen this season where we could not come up with a key hit? Newly enshrined Hall of Fame announcer Hawk Harrelson would always say, don't tell me how many you hit. Tell me when you hit them. And you talk about, I think there were 2 outs. A 2-out dinger that puts you ahead. What that does, that breaks your back. Not a lot of teams can come back from things like that. Not a lot of teams. It takes your spirit, takes your soul. You're like, oh. And I'm not saying it can't come back because no one can come back because teams have. What I'm saying is it's a backbreaker for most teams. And it broke the back yesterday. That was the backbreaker yesterday. Okay? For the Royals. There's a lot going on. So what are we going to do? Now that Eloy's back, are we looking for a bat? Are we still? I say no. I say we better go find a pitcher. The trade deadline is in 2 days. 2 days. I think we need a left-handed pitcher out of the bullpen, which is what Garrett Crochet was supposed to be, but he just doesn't give me that confidence yet. Matt Bummer was one of the guys who was fighting for that spot. Was much better last year, but he hasn't been consistent. We haven't been able to find that left-handed bullpen arm to come in and shut down one inning. Plus, Lubob's coming back. Lubob has graduated from AA Winston-Salem to Charlotte AAA, which means he'll be back in a week, 10 days max. So now you got Eloy back, you got Lubob back. Those are two huge pickups at the deadline. Two huge pickups at the deadline. And Lubob, for me, is the guy that I want to go ham. Because he can affect the game so many different ways. He's like Tim Anderson. With him on base, he is always a threat to run. He can bunt his way on. He can homer. He can go shopping at the gap. He can double his way on. This guy is awesome. And I want to see him come back. I want to see him wreak havoc on the base paths. Bother pitchers where they're hanging sliders and curveballs, and allowing whoever's at the plate to eat. That's the guy I want to see. Eloy, yeah, I want to see for his power, but Eloy doesn't run the bases very well. He's not defensively. He's like, okay, fine. But Lubob is my guy that I want to see. Yo Moncada starting to come out and starting to be a consistent force, which I love. Lubob, get there. If my guy Lubob can get there, and Eloy gets there, here's the situation. Home runs come in bunches. Okay, if you're not a Sox fan, you're probably not watching Sox postgame. It's probably not. This is a thought. But you listen to Frank Thomas. He's on most of the White Sox postgame shows with Ozzie and Chuck Garfien. Shout out to NBC Sports Chicago. He talked about home runs. He's like, when you get them, they come in bunches. He goes, when there's a drought, there is a drought. And this team had a drought for a while. They had a drought. It was like a week or two ago. Yohan hadn't hit a homer in over a month. About a month-ish. Come on. That is, but now you saw recently. Now he's smacking the ball. Eloy coming back. How much of a shot in the arm is that for our boys? How much? Because that to me is a huge pickup. With his enthusiasm, his positive electricity that he brings into the clubhouse, I'm expecting it to only get better, help everybody else get better. Okay, those two guys, man. So who do we go after? Who are you thinking? Who do you like for the White Sox? Who? If you want the left-handed arm. Now that Andrew Chafin is gone, he's off the market. He went to the A's, I believe. Because if we can get that, I'm fine. Look at Ray Lopez did yesterday. Clean 1 inning. He gets the victory. So we're one arm away. One left-handed arm away from me being comfortable. Then do you want to go get a second baseman? We can. Here's the thing. What everyone's saying, we need a second baseman. We need a second baseman. Why? I've never heard of a team that had 9 or 8 position players that were studs. Why not Danny Mendick and Leury Garcia till the end? I mean, you still have Eduardo Escobar. He was on the table. I don't know if we need a second baseman. We can go get one. Cool. But I don't know if we need one. Like, for real, need one. We need a left-handed arm out of the bullpen, that's for sure. We need this White Sox team to pick up the pick up the pace offensively. Maybe with Eloy coming back, hitting his first homer yesterday with Lubob, going to be coming back in another week or so. We're going to see. We're going to see. And then we're going to have our finally, the lineup we want, minus Adam Eaton, because they let him go. They let him go. They let his ass go. And I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. But on the north side, who's next? Ivan, these are your peoples. Who's next to leave the Cubs? Okay. They mentioned Rizzo had been in some, the Cubs had been in some trade talks, some conversations with the Red Sox about Rizzo. Rizzo's been how would you feel when that arrow goes through your heart? Cubs trade Rizzo.
I don't know why it's not an arrow to me. Like I've been expecting this. I was expecting this coming in. Kind of it took me for caught me off guard a little bit for a month and a half, like we mentioned. But this is the same team. It's the same team. It's time. It's time. There's no, for me. I just want the Cubs to win consistently. I want another World Series, like 108 years. Like, I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, we got to see one. Like that's to me, that's not being competitive. To me, that's like, damn, we got lucky. Woo! Thank God we didn't die before the Cubs, before the Cubs won the World Series. Like that's not consistency to me. Like you just got lucky. Granted, it was one of the best teams I've ever seen. One of the greatest World Series ever, if not the best I've ever seen. Man, it's going to be a little bit hard. I'm not going to lie, but it's not as hard. It's not an arrow to the heart. It's not. This was the writing was on the wall last year. It began in 18. I really want to say, and then after that, for me, I was just like, man, here it comes. Like here it comes, and then we talk about it so much that I'm just like, all right, let's see it. Who is it? When and where? And who do we get back for it?
Knowing it's coming and having it happen are two different things. Okay. When Rizzo's no longer on first base.
I like the prospects. I like prospects.
Okay. You might be a little different if everybody's not the same. But my thought would be how does the fandom as a whole when number 44 is no longer at first base, or number 17 is no longer at third or in the outfield. That's going to be tough. That is going to be the issue, okay? Because you know what the writing's been on the wall, like you said, for a couple of seasons, but to finally have it go, to finally have it come to fruition, that might be the most difficult thing for Cub fans. Because what if they trade him to a team, or they trade one of those two guys to a team that comes and plays them in the next home series?
It's not gonna. Then it's gonna feel real. You know what I mean? For majority of the fans, it'll feel real. For me, even it'll feel real. Like, all right, he's gone. There he is. There's KB. There's Rizzo, or you know what I mean, or whoever moves on, Kimbrel, Chafin, even. But like I said, Shawn, I want to see another Cubs winner. And if this team isn't winning, love them or not, what are we holding on to? What are we holding on to? Are we gonna just drag it on and get try to squeeze out the best of these guys' careers, or are you gonna let them go ahead and flourish on a team that's ready to win now? KB, like Rizzo, I feel like is on that. He's not on an uptrend. You know what I mean? He has some solid years left, but he's not on an uptrend. That back injury, whenever it flares up, it's questionable. You question giving the guy a lot of money because of that. You know what I'm saying? And not that he's like some piece of shit. He's a great guy. He's a great humanitarian. He's a great teammate for what we could see. I mean, I know there's some scuffling, but he's a great teammate from what we could see. And yeah, it's going to be hard. But man, dude, I seen this team struggle. We keep talking about the core guys. You put different players around them for the past, few years now. When is it not just the core guys, man? When is it like, hey, we got to go ahead and try to figure out how to restart this thing and get another World Series in here? Look, when the Red Sox won, when they finally broke their curse, it took them a while to win another one. They had to go break up that team. You know what I mean? Like they had to break up that
3 years.
There was some heartbreak. You know what I mean? There was some heartbreak. It took some time after. So for me, I'm like, hey, don't. I know it hurts, but for Cubs fans, you gotta if you don't want to become the lovable losers again, break that mentality. Break that mentality. This is it. The time's up. Time's up. 5 years. You gave them what this team's been together about 6-7 years. You're close to a decade, and this team hasn't been figuring it out how to hit consistently in the past 3. So it hurts a little bit, but I'm not going to go ahead and lose sleep over it. I'm gonna look forward to the next Cubs winner.
And that's the thing. When will it be? Because remember, Boston, you mentioned the Red Sox. They won in 04 and 07. Okay. Then they won one more after that. So, you're talking about a short time frame. That's the type of stuff you want. When we talk about the the San Francisco Giants, 10, 12, and 14 they won. They won 3 in 5 seasons. I assume that's the consistency that you wanted or you had expected from this team. And it was there. I mean, you got the 3 straight National League Championship Series. You're talking about a step away. I'm sorry, 2. And you talk about a step away from, I thought it was 3.
It's 3. I'm sorry. I forgot about the Mets.
Yeah. Okay. That's the type of you can't get to the World Series if you don't get to the NLCS. So it was there. They just couldn't get to the World Series after that 1 year, after 16. I see where you're going. I see what you want from this Cubs team, and I respect it because I want the same thing for my Sox. I want my Sox to be, past the second round, or at least the second round every year in the playoffs. I'd like them, even if they lost 5 in a row, 5 American ALCSs, they're in the ALCS. They've got a shot to get to the World Series. I want them to get that shot every year. This team is far too talented for them not to be competing. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm saying they're far too talented for them not to be competing.
I agree. I mean, look, the talent pool is not bleak for the Cubs. It's I would like their pitching. I would like them to gather some more pitching, so I feel more secure with what's going to be coming up. But as of right now, it's like they got some talent down there. You're going to go into next season definitely seeing what you have with a lot of young guys. Why not go ahead and flood the farm a little bit? You know what I mean? And really go after the next crop, because you're going to keep one of them, right? It looks like Baez is the guy, and Rizzo might even stay. You know what I'm saying? Like Rizzo might not even be going anywhere. So why not, if it's KB, flood the farm, go ahead, trade Kimbrel, trade whoever, Tepera, whoever left, you could go ahead and peel off and just piece by piece get some talent back. I'm with it, but you need to have that. You need to pull here. I'll say it like this: the biggest thing about Theo was Theo had that love for these guys. Like he had that connection. Jed don't have that connection. So Jed, go ahead and pull the trigger, my dude, and start building your Cubs winner, because it's not Theo's team anymore.
No, it's not, and that's what Jed has to realize. I hope he does. I assume he does. It's your team. You do with it what you feel. I would love to see him. This is your baby now. And I know Jed, bought all the ingredients, but now it's your turn to cook dinner with these ingredients. Make it a little different. I think he will. And I think right now the best place you can go is heavy rotation. I mean, prospects. You go heavy prospects, man. Your future. You can have the whole, depending on how many you have. Frank Thomas said it best at Sox Fest a few years ago. It's like with Kopech and Moncada and Ray Lopez, all these guys who are still coming up, put them all together. He said, put them all together so they can be comfortable playing with each other on the field. And now look at them. Now they're all Tim Anderson, Yo-Yo, Nick Madrigal. Nick's a little younger than those guys, but still, it's about stockpiling your prospects, like you said, Ivan, and that's what's important. I wish you well. I really, really do. I wish you guys well. I hope you guys do are able to turn it around quickly, because I still would love to see a Sox Cubs World Series, but we can't. The Cubs are down.
Well, I want to see a Sox Cubs World Series with Ed Howard as shortstop for the Chicago Cubs. All right.
Yeah. Hey.
That'll be one hell of a World Series for me. Cubs win. Cubs win.
No. No. Ed Howard, you're a Southsider. You didn't ask to go to the Cubs, so I can't hold that against you. Okay, but no. But that's the route it's going. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That would be a great story to have a hometown boy playing for his rival hometown team. I don't know. I don't know, but that would be pretty dope. That would be really, really, really dope. So you think Baez is going to stay, huh? I think you might be right. I think you might be right.
I mean, he's like, the energy he gives off, it's just infectious. Like you need a guy like that, because he's going to grow older, but still have the love for the game. So he's going to always treat the game right. You're going to have younger guys coming up, and you need a guy like that. You need guys like that who are going to love the game. I'm not saying that Rizzo and Bryant don't love the game, but the way Javi plays, and with some of the players that the Cubs have coming up, like Javi plays with that flair. Like a lot of these guys are probably Javi Baez fans. You know what I mean? So a lot of them are going to have, some type of connection to Javi. Now as far as the money, man, how much does Javi Baez love being in Chicago? Because I'm hesitant in giving somebody $237 million when you have issues, long stretches, streaks where you're cold at the plate and your team's struggling because you're not able to contribute. You know what I mean? When your time is called, that one's going to be very, very tricky to work around. But I feel like it might be Javi. Now, Chris Bryant's talking about re-signing, or he's open to re-signing with the Cubs if he is traded off, if and when, because it seems like it is more likely a when. I feel like he's honest to a point, to an extent, but it's more like, okay, yeah, I'm open to re-signing with the Cubs if the Cubs throw me the money that I feel like I'm worth. You know what I'm saying? Like if the Cubs meet the right criteria, and he has Scott Boras as his agent. Yep. If the Cubs meet the criteria, why not? I don't think Chris Bryant. I don't think he holds this bitter grudge that everybody thinks he holds. I know it is a sour note. I know he wasn't happy, but this guy won a World Series with this team. His family's been in Chicago. He's been a part of Chicago. Chicago's embraced him. Chicago loves him. Why would he hold any animosity towards the organization or its fans? And I just don't feel like it's more towards the organization than the fans. But I just don't feel like it's there. I think Chris Bryant, is going to be on his way out. But is he open to being reelected? I believe him.
That would be wild if he comes back as a Cub. He rent them away. He comes back as a Cub, and you could sign him off. That would be pretty wild.
Take somebody's top pick or top prospects, just put them over here. Chris Bryant signs again. Aroldis did it.
I was just about to say your Cubs did it. I mean, Aroldis did it. He left. You guys got the Yankees got the Cubs top prospect in Gleyber Torres, who's just destroying the American League now, and then they got Chapman back. So it's not unheard of. It's not impossible. The blueprint has been planned out already. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, guys, I have a surprise for you. We're always growing here. We're always looking to add new stuff here on SportsZone Chicago, and we have some news, some break. Now, I guess we can call it breaking news, but I do want to have a quick, introduction for some new people. And we're going to talk sports. We're not just going to talk about them. We're going to talk sports. You come on this show, Dan, we're talking sports. Shit, it's a sports show. We're going to talk some other stuff later, unless it's really funny, like my story from Milwaukee. But that's a whole other story.
Oh, man, we got to close out the show with that. You got to save that nugget.
All right, guys. A couple of guests on the other side of the break. I'm excited to bring these guys to you. of these two to you. You're gonna be seeing a lot more of them. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. The reveal party. Okay, right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning. Keep it locked right here. We'll be right back.
Take off the glasses, please. You look familiar. You got a record?
Yes, sir, he's got a record. He's got a great record. The Black Rooster, 13 KOs. Paco Aguilar, El Gallo Negro. He's got a great right uppercut.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago. Big move for the Blackhawks on Tuesday, acquiring goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury from Vegas in exchange for minor league forward Michael Häkkinen. Fleury set to count $7 million against the cap next season. It's the final year of his contract. He's the reigning Vezina Trophy winning goaltender. It's the first time in 20 years the reigning Vezina winner was traded before the season after Buffalo traded Dominic Hasek to Detroit on the first day of free agency in 2001. The baseball trade deadline fast approaching. Following a 7-4 loss to the Reds on Tuesday, Boston has reportedly had preliminary talks with the Cubs about Anthony Rizzo. A 4-run 8th inning led the White Sox past Kansas City 5-3 on Tuesday. Eloy Jimenez with a 3-run blast in the 8th. The Sox are 60-41 atop the AL Central by 9.5 games over Cleveland. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
In some places, it's always rush hour. And the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
In some places, it's always rush hour. And the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at SportsZone Chicago on his Hump Day edition. Man, oh man, oh man. Guys, listen, I am fired up. This next dynamic duo, we're always growing here at SportsZone Chicago. And I'll tell you what, I am excited to bring these guys on. They're going to be a new show here on SportsZone Chicago. It's called Second City Sports. Okay. And they're going to be coming on Mondays and Fridays, 12 to 2. Okay. So literally right after us. So I got to shut my ass up at 11:55. Ivan, you got to make sure. Shawn, shut up. We got to go. Sid and Keenan are coming on. You gotta let me know. So they're going to start on August 9th, on Monday, August 9th. And they'll be on Mondays and Fridays. Guys, let's bring them out. I am so excited. I'm thankful that they're coming on board. Miss Lakina McGee and Sid the Kid.
Hey.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Hello.
Good morning, young sir. How are you?
Morning.
Young sir with all this white in my hair.
I know. You're only as young as you feel, Shawn. You're only as young as you feel. So
well, let's not do that. Never mind. This pain in my knee I woke up with. I don't know where that came. No, I'm kidding. Good Lord. Hey guys,
gosh.
Well, welcome, man. Welcome to SportsZone Chicago. We wanted to get you guys on, get everybody acclimated to you, and get them familiar with you, and let them know that they can where to follow you, so they can kind of get a little sense of you guys. And perfect thing is you're following us, so they can, if people are home, they can just keep watching SportsZone Chicago and catch you right after us on Mondays and Fridays. Guys, how long have you been doing Second Sports?
Well, I've been doing it for about 7 years now. I've been doing it at two different places. This will be our third place. Sid and I have actually been doing it together for like the last 4 years, Sid?
Three.
3 years. Okay, three. Yeah, I'll say
Yeah.
time flies. I've had various co-hosts over the years. Look, we're excited to venture on this new bigger platform with you and the gang, Shawn, and look, I think that what we do is sort of like similar to what we've been doing with our podcast. We're going to talk local sports. We're also going to talk about top national stuff as well. So we'll pretty much run the gamut. I mean, Sid and I, Sid's actually a bigger hockey fan than me, even though I consider myself a pretty big hockey person too. But yeah, I mean, look, we'll do pro, we'll do college, and look, we just like to have fun, and we have, as Sid would say, very different opinions. So, that's pretty much what you're going to get here with us.
Yeah, we're also going to keep it light and keep it fun at the same time, and we're going to bring on the guests that you want to hear from. Of course, I worked with the Dean Davis Show, as most of you guys know, behind the scenes, and we did the same thing there, and we're doing the same thing with Second City Sports. So, the heavy hitters that you've heard on our shows throughout the years, we're going to bring them on here live here on SportsZone Chicago. So get ready. It's going to be a hot one.
I'm telling you, I'm fired up, dude. I'm really happy that we get to a duo of your quality. You guys have been in the industry for a while, and to have you guys come aboard to make SportsZone Chicago better is something that I am just ecstatic about. And you follow us, so that's awesome. That's gonna be awesome. Well, let's let me get a little into your background. Like, how long have you been in the industry? I know you said you're with the Dean Davis Show and let people know that, but how long have you been in the industry?
I graduated I still call it Illinois Media School. I graduated, there was only one campus, and I was out there in Lombard. So I graduated in 2002. I worked at a religious station for about 2 years, and then the now defunct Sporting News Radio. I don't know what the name of it is. They had so many changes after that. So I worked there for about a year, and then had a little break, and then, of course, hopped on with Ken and DeMond's. With We Are Rico Radio, and of course working with the Dean Davis Show since 2013, and there were some changes going on at the station downtown. So I hopped on with Lakina. So it's been fun ever since. So I've been doing this for quite a while now, even though we had a little gap in between there. So
okay, Lakina, and you?
Graduated from Illinois Media School in 2013. Started doing Second City Sports not too long after that. Did some blogging too with a sports media sites. Did that for a little bit. When CSR, there were some changes that happened, like Sid said. The last couple of years, we started doing it podcast style, doing it with We Are Rico Radio, and now we're doing it here with you guys. We're looking forward to venturing on this new adventure with you guys and growing our platform.
Awesome. I'm telling you, I'm fired up for you guys. Well, let's get right to it, man. Let's talk a little bit of sports. And since we have a lovely young lady on, I want to get your take of
shucks.
of the whole Simone Biles situation. Simone Biles decided to step away from the Olympic team, or not. I shouldn't say step away, just not compete because her mentals wasn't right. Okay. Give me your thoughts. I've already shared my thoughts earlier in the show, so I want to hear your thoughts, and then I'll kind of wrap it up with this after I hear both your thoughts. Lakina, let's get started on that one.
Okay. I said on Twitter earlier, as you guys can see my Twitter handle at the bottom there, I was actually surprised that she even decided that she wanted to do another Olympics, because she had won 5 medals, including 4 golds. She won it all around. She's got like dozens of world and national championships, and she really didn't have anything to prove. So when she made the announcement that she was going to train for Tokyo, I was kind of surprised. But hey, look. But then she started doing all these crazy tricks and all these new apparatus, and she was definitely setting the bar herself. I think it kind of got to a point where I think she might have felt like she might have went a little too far. Maybe I think that's probably why. Mentally. Gymnastics like figure skating and synchronized swimming, basically any sport or diving, basically any sport that has judges involved, you have to be mentally ready. And Nastia Lukin, who is a all-around champion in the Olympics herself, shared that she went through the same thing. And many other gymnasts have came out and said that they went through sort of the same thing that Simone's going through. look, I think you have to be mentally there, and if not, I think she did herself and her teammates a favor. But let's also remember too. Let's give the other gymnasts some credit. Let's just give Sunyi Lee, Grace McCallum, and Jordan Childs the fact that they actually won silver despite the circumstances. The fact they were able to do that, it's their first Olympics, it should be nothing short of incredible, and they should be commended for it. Now, if you're NBC, you think, okay, you want to be supportive, but yet you're kind of like stuck, because you based your, all the hype, the Olympic hype, you based around her. So now you're, we'll get to, I'm sure we'll get to that later in a little bit. But, for me, I think, look, Simone did what she had to do. And look, I think mental health should, look, Michael Phelps said it, he's been very passionate about it in recent years. He knows what Simone's going through, probably maybe 10 times over. So, and he's been, in recent years, he's actually been very, forthcoming, has worked, with mental health and everything. And then look, especially these Olympians, these Olympic athletes, they go through this every 4, in this case, 5 years. So I'm glad that, in recent years that more athletes are coming out and say, look, it's okay not to be okay mentally. So I applaud her for being very, forthright, and, she's always been straightforward with pretty much everything she goes through. So look, you gotta applaud her, and look, she had nothing to prove anymore. So, and look, she felt she did what was best for her, and she should be, instead of being shamed and criticized, she should be applauded for it.
Selfishly, I wanted to watch her compete, and this was probably her last Olympics anyway. But I'm not going to pretend to know what's going inside her head or what's going on inside her heart. If she felt like this was the best thing for her to do, then so be it. It's definitely way different than the Sha'Carri Richardson situation, which is a whole nother story within itself. But Simone Biles, as Lakina mentioned, that she has done everything that she's possibly can do from the gymnast community, both on and off the mat. So she's the greatest gymnast to ever live. At least definitely the best one I've seen. Yeah, in my lifetime. So if this was the best thing for her to do, so be it. Especially, I know this is not professional sports, but definitely professional sports. You have to answer to your agents and your sponsors and everybody else, and yourself is being taking care of yourself is being put on the back burner. So with this message, she's saying she has to take care of herself first. If that's the message, so be it.
Interesting. I was a little more harsh on her because of this. You quit on your girls. Like, I have no problem with you taking care of your mentals. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, I applaud, but don't do it in the middle of the Olympics. Like you weren't having.
I can understand it.
You don't
I
have
can understand how you feel about it.
beforehand. So if she did it, yesterday, 2 days ago. 2 days ago was the first day she had these thoughts. No, she had these thoughts beforehand, and for her to say, "Hey, listen, I don't know if I'm going to be right. I don't want to go because I'm not right before the Olympics. So now they can get somebody else in there." That was my issue. And then my next concern was, is she going to partake in the all around events, the individual events? I'm like, she better not, because she better not partake in the individual events, because if she did that, what kind of look would that be? She left her team, but she wants more individual glory. That would have really been bad. I'm glad she said no. I'm glad she's taking care of herself. But you know what? When you're in a team sport, you're accountable to your team. And if you know, and these feelings didn't just happen 2 days ago. If you know these feelings are there and you're not ready, you gotta tell these guys now, because they're counting on you. And and I'm a little annoyed because, let's be honest, they were hands down favorites to win the gold, hands down, with her in there, hands down. And with her out there, in her interview yesterday, she said, "I didn't want to cost them a medal." Well, you did. You cost them the gold. Now, had you done that, they might have been able to get somebody else in there, a replacement who could have helped rally the team so they can get gold or win silver. They just got awarded silver because she stepped out. That's why I was a little more annoyed with her, and it sucked because she's a sister too, and I don't like being back that critical of sisters and brothers. But this is sports, and just keeping it real. And I just think it should have been done a different way. I'm happy for her that she's stepping away. And I think the extra year really screwed everything up. I think last year would have been a different story if it happened in 2020. I think she might have been able. I don't think. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. I don't feel she would have had these issues in 2020. She could have gone out at 23 years old, because you're right. This is her last Olympics. You're a gymnast. Now you're talking 27, 26, 27, 28 years old in your next Olympics, and a gymnast. No, that doesn't happen. So a little annoyed with her, a little more critical of her for the timing of it, and kind of leaving her teammates out to dry. But again, I'm happy that she's stepping away and getting herself mentally.
Here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing, Shawn, and you bring up valid points, but I'll play devil's advocate with you. Would you pick what she's doing now, or number two, go on that world stage and go through the motions and embarrass herself and potentially put her legacy in jeopardy? And we will remember her on the flip side. It's like, okay, she was the world's greatest gymnast, but when they counted the most in her last Olympics, she fell flat on her face, and now her legacy won't be as great as it is now.
Well, if that's the case, then she shouldn't have gone to begin with. Like, I don't want her. Like, she stumbled. Remember, she on the bar, the one event that she did. She stumbled. She stepped forward after she hit the landing. She didn't stick it, so she fell forward or took a step forward. And at that point, like, for me, I just wish she would have done it beforehand and let somebody else do it. That's pretty much it. I don't think she was. I don't want her legacy tarnished, because she's doing shit that you just don't even fucking believe. Dude, they can't even judge her scores, and I think that's a big part of it. Let's not get it twisted. She's doing shit that no one else can do. She's doing like the triple Lindy from Back to School. Like, she's doing shit in the air, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, stop. And then not only is she twirling, but then she's flipping. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, you talk about black girl magic. Like, that's amazing what she's doing. And people, they can't judge her because no one else can do this. No one in the history of the sport can do this. So, and that's being used against her. I guarantee you that is one of the reasons that it was frustrating, because she's saying, I can do this. That's so difficult that would make us unbeatable. Wait, but you're not counting it? What? I think that's a big part of it too. And that to me, that underscores when you're a different creature and you're a different breed and you're a different animal and you are just so far superior, it scares people. They don't know what they're looking at. They see the gymnast, they see a young explosive young lady, but they're seeing stuff that they're looking in their notes and their official handbooks, and like, I've never seen a quadruple quintuple Lindy thing. How do we judge this? And I think that hurt. I think that was frustrating her. In my opinion, that frustrated her a lot more than she's letting on, or that anyone else knows. Because that with those things, the degree of difficulty is like one. That's her. She's the only one who can do it. Nobody else. And it wasn't counting for her team.
Well, I think also too, this has probably been building. I think that she didn't just suddenly. I don't think she just suddenly had these issues, or these, questioning herself, for the last 2 years or 2 days or whatever. I'm sure this has probably been building for the last couple of years, and plus some other stuff, with her and the whole situation with the USA Gymnastics. We won't get into it, obviously, but I think that played a part too. I think it's just not just one thing. I think it's like a whole slew of things. But you raised some valid points. I mean, look, you're not the only one who feels that way. That feel that she quit on her team, and you know what? But then also raised a good point that would you rather had she had pulled out. But then she had tried, and then she totally she fell or she stepped out or whatever, then everyone would say, well, how could she have done this? So she was sort of darned if she didn't, darned if she didn't.
Yeah, I just wish she would. I was hoping that the competitive instinct took over, and said, all right, one more time, and it's tough, trust me, because the Father Time is undefeated. Okay. And every athlete has his or her last day, last event, last, Olympics, so to speak. And it's a tough call. And you don't think of 24 as old, but in the gymnastics world, in the Olympics, it's ancient.
It's ancient. Yeah, yes. It's ancient.
So you started like 3. You started 2 or 3 years old, and 60. Once you hit in your 20s, you're like, whoa. Okay, you sure you don't want to coach? and she's mid 20s now. So yeah, it was back at the point, and also mentally you're different. I know when I played football, I stopped playing when I was 40. When I was 40, my last season, my mentality was so different than when I was 35 or 30 or 25. So it's a little different, personally, for every athlete as they're getting later on in their career. And then again, it's not like she's like 65 years old, but in later in her career, she starts to think differently. And I get it. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm glad. We'll put it this way. I'm glad we won the silver. Okay. I would have liked the gold, but at this point, what can you do?
There you go.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this Bears team. Let's switch gears a little bit. This Bears team, they are practicing today.
Oh boy.
We just got off with Zach Pearson at 10 o'clock, and I told him this is like, if you're are you guys big baseball fans?
Of course, I am anyway.
Yeah.
So there's nothing better than hearing pitchers and catchers report. Okay, you're like, oh yeah, and because you know what's coming, and when they say first day of training camp, it got me fired up. It got me fired the freak up because I know it's coming. Bear season, Justin Fields, when will he get on the field? When will he start? He's going to play, but when's he going to start? I just got so fired up. What are your expectations for this season? We'll start with you this time, Sid.
Be honest with you, I'm not going to give my final record away. We'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that after training camp. But like you said, it's the season of the unknown because Justin Fields, he brings a whole new light to that team. Of course, we don't know how he's going to play because we haven't seen preseason action from him yet. But the anticipation is there. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think what head coach Matt Nagy, even though I have my issues with him, naming Andy Dalton the starter, I think that's a smart thing because one, it gives Justin Fields the competitive fire that he needs to help him go along and say, I feel I should be the number one starter. They drafted me as a franchise quarterback. That gives him extra motivation to go out and do his job. Andy Dalton, you sitting there and say, yeah, I'm the number one quarterback because I'm a veteran. I've been in this league for the last decade, almost decade and a half. You paid me up to $13 million to come here. So he's comfortable, for the lack of better terms. So from that front, I'm looking forward to that quarterback battle. Now with Matt Nagy, as I said, the last few months, do I trust him? What he's going to do with Justin Fields? As of right now, no. I know they just started training camp. We haven't had preseason action yet, but look what he did last year, yanking out Trubisky and bringing in Nick Foles. Every game that Nick Foles started last year, except for one game, he threw an interception. What does that tell you?
Well, let me see. I've been sort of like a love-hate relationship with this Bears team the last maybe 10 or 15 years of my life. You're optimistic, cautiously optimistic, and look, I think the fact that Justin Fields, they were able to right pace able to make this move and get Justin Fields in the top 10. Look, I feel like this is actually Nagy. Look, Nagy didn't want Trubisky. Let's be honest. That wasn't his guy. So, he kind of inherited when he got here. So now you have your guy. We'll see how you develop him. Can he develop him? That's the really number one question. You got Allen Robinson. Darnell Mooney? I mean, does he have the weapons around him that kind of make him go to that next level? Now, as for Andy Dalton, look, you were promised to be QB1. Look, I think if you get hurt or if you're not productive, I think Justin Fields will be, coming up, towards you quickly. There are people that have said that maybe after the fourth game of the season that he might start. Who knows what would happen? I mean, you're not gonna throw a week one, against the Rams on Sunday Night Football with Aaron Donald right there. You're not gonna throw. You're basically throwing him to the wolves if you do that. So you're not gonna do that. But also too, let's talk about the defense too for a second. You got a defense that's a year older. Eddie Goldman looks great. For opting out last year. Khalil Mack. How he's gonna be. Physically. Same thing with Akeem Hicks. You thought that you were gonna trade him. You didn't. But now he's got some injury issues. a lot of these defensive guys are over 30 now. Can they be that, that top 10, top 12 defense that we're used to seeing? That's really like what I'm looking at. Not just of course, Justin Fields, but also the defense especially.
Here's the thing about the defense. I want to bring up, you brought up the name Khalil Mack, Lakina. I know this is the first time since he's been here that he hasn't been talked about all off season. Hopefully this is a good sign that he's going to have a good year. I know he's been dealing with a lot of knee issues over the past couple of years. And we brought up Eddie Goldman. I really want to see how he plays this year after missing last season. I know those talks about retirement and all that. And there was some pictures in social media that he's been working out pretty fast and pretty good right before camp. But I'm really looking forward to those two guys to see if Lakina said this defense can get back to respectability, because when all those guys were healthy back in 2018, we loved them for pressuring the quarterback and getting those quarterback sacks and getting those takeaways. But Akeem Hicks and Eddie Goldman were both great in stopping the run. And the Bears struggled doing that last year. It was no doubt about it that they struggled last year. I want to see if they can get back to 2018, early 2019 in stopping the run.
I'm looking forward to this defense getting back because of Eddie Goldman. He's been off a year. His body's healthy. Any nicks and nagging injuries have been taken care of. Akeem Hicks is healthy. Bilal Nichols. Okay, now he gets to bump back out to the left end spot where he was really starting to make a name for himself in 2019 before he had to go and fill in for Eddie Goldman at the nose tackle spot, which is not a spot for him. Okay, he just was too light in the ass. He's moving back out to a position that he's comfortable with, and that means if we have a healthy Eddie Goldman, if he doesn't command a double team, he can wreak havoc. Akeem Hicks, if he doesn't command a double team, he can wreak havoc. You only have 5 offensive linemen and maybe a 6th with a tight end. You still got to double team Khalil Mack. So that means Bilal Nichols and I can't even think of the guy we hit, the 2-sack guy for $37 million.
Robert
Quinn.
He's got to eat. They got to eat. And they need to make sure that while these guys are getting double teamed, they're a lot more productive this year. I'm looking forward to this year because of the healthy Eddie Goldman. I'm looking because of when he's healthy and he's taking up 2 blocks, guess who's running all over the field untouched like Urlacher did? And that's Roquan Smith. So there's a lot that I'm looking forward to from this defense. And if Matt Nagy can run the ball, I shouldn't say he can, because he of course he can. If he commits to the run, then I think we're going to have a phenomenal season, because David Montgomery is going to eat up some clock. The tight ends are going to be huge weapons. The wide receiving core is going to actually be much better with the safeties having to come down in the box because we're running the ball. It's not rocket science. If you know football, it's not rocket science. And if Matt Nagy commits to the run, okay, in addition to his offense being more potent, his defense is going to be more potent because they're going to be off the field more for running the ball. They're getting some rest. So when they do get out on the field, they can go ham. And I'm really hoping that it plays out that way. But it's all contingent on if Matt Nagy decides he wants to make a dedicated commitment to the run, which he should, because in 2018, when Patrick Mahomes won the MVP with 50 touchdown passes, you know what they had in their backfield? They had the NFL's leading rusher in Kareem Hunt. So it just goes to show you that you can have a good running game, a great running game in this offense with your quarterback, performing at an MVP level. So we'll see.
I believe when I see it with the running game.
You and me both in the rest of Bears Nation, because that dude don't want to run.
Also the secondary too. I mean, the one decent secondary guy you had, Kyle Fuller, he's gone. Mm-hmm. So now what? Jaden Johnson. Also, is Eddie Jackson. I mean, he had a great first couple of years, but the last couple of years he's been awful and he can't tackle. So, has he learned how to tackle during the offseason? So let's see what they can do. So, and look, I'm cautiously optimistic about the Bears, but again, I just don't see it with this team. I don't. I'm sorry, but again, look, we're in Missouri, I guess apparently. So show me what you can do.
Well, yeah, we're gonna see, and you know what? It's gonna be quite an interesting journey this season because I think that they have everything here to compete. They have everything here that they need to compete. Now, are they going to be put? And I know it's very cliche-ish, but are they going to be put in the right position to be successful? That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. Hey guys, listen, great stuff today, man. I appreciate it. But man, I'm looking forward to having you guys on starting Monday. It'll be August. Hold on, what date was that? August 9th. Monday, August 9th. You guys will be on immediately following Shawn and Maya in the morning. You'll be on from 12 to 2. I just want to get our fans acclimated to you guys so they feel familiar, so they can check you guys out. We may have you back on again at some particular point, just to talk sports. We ain't solving the world's problems here. We're just having fun talking sports. So we appreciate you, coming on board, being interested in coming on board, and we're really, really looking forward to having you guys on and following us on Mondays and Fridays. So do me a favor though, let everyone know where they can find you guys online. Your Twitter handles, whatever.
You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, that's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80. That's Twitter and Instagram.
You can follow me that's my Twitter handle right there at the bottom, and also too on the IG, at Keena_McGee on the IG streets.
That's awesome. And Sid, I know you like hockey. What you excited about these new moves that the Hawks just made? They traded for Marc-Andre Fleury if he doesn't retire. And they got Tyler Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, the forward from the Tampa Bay Lightning. How fired up are you?
I think they're a borderline playoff team. I know you're getting Jonathan Taves back next year. I know Kane is always going to be there. It looks like he gets better as he gets older. Marc-Andre Fleury, if he's the starting goalie on opening night, that's fine. I thought Kevin Langdon did a nice job last year. And I think if you're a Hawks fan, what gives you optimism, last year they played the Eastern Conference schedule, and they didn't look good against Tampa Bay, now the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They didn't look good against Florida and Joe Quenneville's squad.
Nope.
And they didn't look good against some of the other teams like Carolina and Boston and those. They didn't play Boston last year, but some of those teams. Now you're back in the Western Conference. You're playing the majority of your schedule within the Central Division with Minnesota, Colorado, St. Louis. And so that roster is built to play against those teams. So if you're looking for optimism for the Blackhawks, you're going back to normal next season, playing against the familiar opponents, and we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to it. Keena?
Yeah, I mean, the Marc-Andre Fleury thing, I think, really caught me off guard. Like a lot of Hawks fans, you're like, wait, what? Wait, huh? Because he actually had a no trade clause, and unfortunately, the Blackhawks was not on the list that teams had he want to be traded to. Now there's word, his agent posted something saying that he might retire, so that might be a $77.5 million cap hit on the Blackhawks. You're like, if you're Stan Bowman, you're probably like, wait a minute, why? You probably should, waited on this before. Because apparently, I guess, Fleury didn't find out about the trade till on Twitter like the rest of us. So that's something that we gotta look out for. Getting Seth Jones, I mean, I know it's sort of one of those weird moves, and also too, you're paying him a little bit of money. I don't know. I mean, like Sid said, they are a borderline playoff team, with Taves coming back. Kaner's been, defying age, if you will, and by hockey standards. So you got, Kirby Dach, you got a lot of great young players too. So we'll see. I mean, I think the Fleury thing, I think it's going to be really going to be the thing that it's going to set the tone on what happens in the offseason for the Blackhawks. Not to mention all that other stuff that happened, but we won't go there off the ice. But we won't go there. That's a whole other thing. Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah, I'm excited. I think if he plays, that's awesome. We got a Vezina award-winning trophy goaltender between the pipes. If he doesn't, not a problem. We can use his money after the season starts, just like what we were doing with Seabrook with the retirement money. So we can go get a goalie I like it. I like the Seth Jones. I like the Colton Dock. So we got a couple pairs of brothers on the team. I like what this doing. It looks like they're retooling on the fly, which is really cool for me. We don't have to wait another 3, 4, 5 seasons for this team to be good again. They actually might be good now. And if Andre Fleury decides he wants to play, he comes out with a vengeance. Wow, because when you got a hot goaltender, there's few things tougher in sports than facing a hot goaltender. It's like a pitcher an ace who's on his stuff and is just untouchable. When these goalies are on their head, man, it's tough, and that's going to help the Blackhawks a lot, along with the addition of a couple of defensemen. I think is going to be really huge for these guys. I'm looking forward to it. I was telling my producer Ivan, I was like, hey, there's a lot of good stuff going on the West Side with the Bulls and their whole front office and the way that they're retooling and reshaping that organization. Now the Blackhawks with some moves, and the moves we're making are moves that are very obvious. You need defensive help. You need goalie help. You got rid of those contracts. Like, holy cow, like they're actually acting like a big city franchise for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, it's really great to see. As Lakina mentioned, the Blackhawks are in other mess outside the ice for a whole nother reason. But this team has been in salary cap hell for the last 3 or 4 years, and so as far as Stan Bowman, the GM, is concerned, I have not been in his corner, and so he's actually doing the work this offseason, and he has to be commended for it. But I think that for the Hawks, the players that missed last season, including Jonathan Taves, you brought up Colton Dock. Of course, his older brother Kirby. He only played in a few games toward the end of last season. He missed the majority of the year. There's a couple other guys that didn't play last year either. So you get those guys back, and it's going to be interesting to see how they gel, including Jonathan Taves, because he missed all of last year. And if they can get off to a good start, sky's the limit. I'm not saying we're playing the Stanley Cup parade just yet, but if they can get off to a decent start in the first month in October into November, it's going to be fun times come to winter on the West Side.
Yeah, I think Blackhawks and Bulls fans should be cautiously excited. I would say, because of the moves, like you just said, Sid. I mean, look. This is not a Stanley Cup winning team from those Stanley Cup teams, back in the 2010s. It'll probably be a while before we get to that point. But look, they've got a lot of great, you got your veterans like, Kane and Taves. You got the young guys. And you also, you have some veteran guys coming in like Seth Jones, like hopefully Monk, Andre Fleury. So I think the sky is the limit. And look, and I think they're actually going to have a full off season now, just kind of, to rest in case you get banged up. And now they'll be able to mesh and come together with all those late injuries from last year that kept the Blackhawks from going to the playoffs. I think now that you're going to have a full off season, now that these guys will be able to mesh. We'll see if Jeremy Colliton can coach. We'll actually have an actual, resume, if you will. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, as for the Bulls, I know we're not talking about the Bulls, but we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do, but I'm going to do it anyway. But we'll see what they do in the draft. I mean, they may make some moves. We heard all types of rumors. Lonzo Ball might be out the question now since they've got since the Pelicans now got the money to match any contracts. I mean, any contract that they offer sheet. Mm-hmm. So they can, that he might be out, but Dante Murray and now Shai Lacasmore, I think that's his name. I could never, even when he was in college, I couldn't pronounce the man's name, but his name's being brought up too. So, but yeah, I think it's good that we don't know what AK and Mark Eversley are doing, so maybe that's a good thing. We didn't know about Vucevic, so that was a great surprise. So we'll see what other surprises they have in store. We know Lowry's going to be gone. Denzel Valentine is going to be, going bye-bye. So I'm looking forward to what the Bulls are going to do. If not tomorrow, then definitely, as we get into the offseason in the NBA.
You brought up a great point. They finally have a full offseason. I think Carlton can coach. I think that playoff series a couple years ago, taking out Edmonton in the first round, that really opened my eyes to his ability to coach. I think now with everybody coming back with the health, of Jonathan Taves and these new additions, I'm really looking forward to seeing this team grow. That's why I think they're retooling on the fly, and the fact that they have a full offseason. Like, people don't understand how important preseason is. You're going through stuff and you have a chance to articulate your thoughts and why, explain why you're doing this and how it should be run. And it's just so much time to make things better for the season. I think it's going to do wonders for this particular this franchise, and I can't wait, man. To have all of our teams doing well, or potential to do well. I think it's a good time here in Chicago for sports. So, hey guys, awesome. We're gonna let you go, but again, thank you for joining us. And guys, in case you're wondering, put that up for me, Ivan. Sydney Brown and Lakina McGee are joining SportsZone Chicago as Second City Sports, and they will be coming on Mondays and Wednesdays, Mondays and Fridays. Excuse me, I don't know where I have Wednesdays from. Mondays and Fridays, August 9th, starting is when they're going to be at their first episode. I'm excited. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be one heck of a run. We got some good stuff going on, and we're happy that they're part of it. All right, guys.
Appreciate it, Shawn. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks. We'll be in touch soon. All right, guys. Listen, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to wrap it up. I'll tell you about my crazy welcome to my 50th birthday weekend in Milwaukee. You're not going to want to miss this. This is just unreal. Unfreaking real. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Mi desastre personal. ¿Qué voy a hacer cuando no tenga tu boca junto a la mía? ¿Qué voy a hacer cuando despierte y vea mi cama vacía? A encontrar la medicina que me sana este dolor. Soy un muerto que camina, que no vive sin tu amor.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago. Big move for the Blackhawks on Tuesday, acquiring goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury from Vegas in exchange for minor league forward Michael Hakkarainen. Fleury set to count $7 million against the cap next season. It's the final year of his contract. He's the reigning Vezina Trophy winning goaltender. It's the first time in 20 years the reigning Vezina winner was traded before the season after Buffalo traded Dominic Hasek to Detroit on the first day of free agency in 2001. The baseball trade deadline fast approaching. Following a 7-4 loss to the Reds on Tuesday, Boston has reportedly had preliminary talks with the Cubs about Anthony Rizzo. A 4-run eighth inning led the White Sox past Kansas City 5-3 on Tuesday. Eloy Jimenez with a 3-run blast in the eighth. The Sox are 60-41 atop the AL Central by 9.5 games over Cleveland. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
In some places, it's always rush hour. And the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything, and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
The sale's on at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Stock up for school with 40 to 70% off almost everything and deals from $13. Find it all at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com through August 10th.
In some places, it's always rush hour. And the honking never stops. At Nature Valley, we wouldn't have it any other way. Take in the outdoors with Nature Valley granola bars.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. Guys, we just got done with Lakina McGee and Sydney Brown. They are now they're joining SportsZone Chicago with their new show on every Monday and Friday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is called Second City Sports. Can you put that up there real quick, Ivan? It's called Second City Sports. And you just got a taste of of this duo, and man, it's going to be awesome. Always growing, Maya and always we have this mantra: always forward, never back. And we're happy to have Sid and Lakina and Sid joining the stable here at SportsZone Chicago, Mondays and Fridays, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Wow. So where do I begin? Okay. My birthday weekend was crazy. See, I still haven't even shaven. I haven't shaved from that whole weekend. It's just nuts. So listen, this is a hell of a way to welcome in your 50th birthday weekend. You talk about knowing it's going to be lit. It's going to be exciting. How about this? So check in. I get a hotel, hotels.com. Okay. And they had some like $85 ones. I'm like, yeah, no. All right, you get what you pay for. Okay, let's keep it honest. So I thought. So I'm like, okay, let's see what else. And there was another hotel. It was a Wyndham property. Okay, so if you guys ever travel, the Wyndham is a very reputable brand. It said Inns and Suites by Wyndham in Milwaukee. I said, okay. I looked at some of the pictures. I'm like, oh, shoes, this is nice. Came out to like $185. The Milwaukee Chronicles. That's awesome. All right, like, okay, a little more, but you know what? Fine. It's a Wyndham property. So we're driving past the Pfizer Forum as we get into town, and I'm like, damn, they still had the barricades up like off to the side, for the parade and from the Bucks winning the title 3 days prior on Tuesday. And I'm from Chicago, so I know how distinct boundaries are when it comes to neighborhoods. Okay, how distinct they are. I grew up on 63rd and in California, 61st in Fairfield, but 63rd in California. And if you once you cross Western, so you could be on 63rd, like an Artesian, but once you cross Western, which is a half a block, it's just a different neighborhood technically, because then that was West Inglewood, but you saw the drastic change. So we're driving by the Pfizer Forum. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I look across the street to my left. I'm like, whoa, those are projects. I look back like, that's the Pfizer Forum right there. All right, okay, well, but I noticed it. I peeped it. You get by me. So then we get up. To the property. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, wait a minute. This doesn't really look like the property hold on. So we look at the property. I'm like, okay, it looks like the property, but the one that I'm seeing here looks like it hasn't been kept up in like the last 10 years. The lawn's not manicured. Okay, the parking lot's all jacked up. It's small. There's some people out in front. Listen, I know it's going to say, you might say, all right, I don't give a damn what you think. There's some white people out front. So I'm like, okay, it's got to be pretty good. Okay. And they had White Sox stuff on. So I'm like, okay, cool. Because this was a shady area. Okay. So I get in and I walk in and they're just talking. I'm like, hey, good afternoon, guys. Go Sox. They're like, hey, go Sox. And I walk in and there's a plexiglass by the front desk. I'm like, okay, that's not good. Like I was put at ease a little when I saw the people outside the hotel. It was a hotel, not a motel. The hotel. I'm like, okay, but then when I get in, I see a plexiglass by the front desk. Okay, first of all, this doesn't look very good. The facade, the curb appeal of this property, which is a Wyndham property, doesn't have this Wyndham standard. Doesn't maintain this Wyndham standard. The lawn, the lawns are unmanicured. It's just yeah, thank you. So they go in and we get the card, go up to the room. Walk up to the room, open the door, and a big waft of cigarette smell, not smoke, just the smell of cigarette hits me in the face. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is ridiculous. I looked at the room, and this room looked like it was from 1980. And it was somewhat clean, but I'm like, I'm expecting a Wyndham property. Like there's this level that I'm expecting here. And at $180, yeah, I'm expecting this shit, and I'm not getting it. So I'm like, okay. I need to go get some ice. What is it with guys? Okay, when we get to the hotel, why is the first thing we do? I gotta go get some ice. I gotta go get some ice.
Because
What the hell are we
there's
doing?
some liquor around somewhere. That's why. There's some type of drink around somewhere. That's typically why I would go get some ice.
Okay, maybe that's just it was ingrained in my head. I just didn't realize it, like just subconsciously, subconsciously. But I had to go get ice. Here's where the fun begins. So I go downstairs to get some ice, and it's on the first floor. Fill up my little ice bucket, little topper, and so I'm holding it in my right arm like this, and I was a running back in my day, okay, and one of my best traits was my vision. So I have great peripheral vision, so I see when shit's moving around. If something odd is moving, I got to take a quick look, just from my days of being a running back and having to be able to see and use and have vision. So in the corner of my right eye, I hear something rolling, and I see guys come in, and these two guys are pushing a gurney. And I'm like, a gurney?
Sox fans got a little too drunk, too fast.
What the hell is this? Okay. Because I know what you use a gurney for, but I'm thinking, no, it's obviously something else that they're using a gurney for, because it couldn't be happening here at a Wyndham property. That's looking rather shadier by the minute. So then we get in the elevator. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Like, hey, one's from Milwaukee, one's from Chicago, who now lives in Milwaukee. And now, mind you, these aren't EMTs, okay? EMTs, they have their uniforms. Like, they look like garbage collectors. No uniforms, no nothing. One of them had a shirt. And I was like, man, it had to be crazy here, huh? They're like, oh, man, it's been wild since they won Tuesday, and the parade was yesterday. Because remember, I was there Friday, so Thursday was a parade. And then, the parade yesterday. And we got to go up to 410 right now and get this OD. So, what? You got to get what? Yeah, we got a guy OD'd in 410. I'm like, dude, I'm in 420. I'm right down the hall. He's like, oh, man, yeah. He goes, this is kind of like OD Central in this area of Milwaukee. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? He's like, yeah, bro. I was like, oh, hell no. So I go to the room, and again, I open the door. I'm a little careful because the smoke smell. And Maya and I had gotten there a few minutes after I did to the hotel. Because we were all going to meet there. We're going to take one car or two cars maybe and head over to the stadium. We got there like literally right actually after the tailgate had started, but nonetheless. And so I was like, Maya, come on up. And I text her. I'm like, hey, watch out for the dead bodies in the elevator. She's like, LOL. When she gets to the door, she says she's downstairs at the elevator. She's about to walk on the elevator as the door opens. Here come these two guys pushing out this dead body. I was like, she goes, I thought you were kidding, Shawn. I'm like, I wasn't. As you can, she goes, yeah, I know. So when I'm talking to the guy, I'm like, when he said we got to pick up this OD, I'm like, man, I'm like I'm thinking in my head, like I don't see any clear. I don't see these guys in a uniform. They're not trying to save this guy. And I noticed that I'm like, is this guy dead? And they're like, oh yeah, man, don't you see the body bag on my gurney? I was like, that is a body bag on your gurney. Holy cow. And then Maya tells me this. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. They get to the door, they're banging on the door, and somebody opens up the door. And I'm walking. As I'm walking, I'm like, and I'm passing the broom. I'm like, I'm trying to see. I couldn't see anything. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. And then and we're on our way to the tailgate, because we got there. Tailgate, the parking lot opened at 4, so they went in at 4. Tailgate starts at 4. We got to the hotel about 4:20. So tailgate started whatever. Then we're going. I'm going down, and Maya's like, I gotta go down. Ivan had just pulled up a few moments after that. He's like, Maya's like, I'm gonna go down and have a drink with Ivan before we head over to tailgate. It's okay. So it was only a 4-minute drive, 4 or 5 minute drive. So I'm going down, and she went down. I follow her. I'm in the elevator, and there's a kid, young 20s. He's got earned the official Milwaukee Bucks NBA championship shirt on. You know how the kids wear it. They have the sticker on. He had the hat. It's a NBA champs. But my guy has no shoes on. And I'm thinking, why in God's name would you have no shoes on in an elevator? Which means you had to walk across one of the floors. Okay, you're probably in a room. You have to walk across one of the floors on this shady carpet. Now that I know there's been a dead guy on this floor, and you got no shoes on. We're talking for a second, and next thing you know, as the door opens, I just take one last look over at the dude. Dude's got tracks all in his arm. Heroin addict. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. Man, I called on the way to the tailgate, from the game. Couldn't find a hotel room. A combination of the Bucks winning on Tuesday, the parade on Thursday, people coming in for that, and a slew of Sox fans that drove up I-94 for the weekend. There were no rooms available.
Basically, we stood on the west side.
Basically. And you talk, man, I was livid. I'm like, $187 for this shit. So get the email. Oh, how was your check-in and your stay? Let's just say I'm still composing it. I want to make sure it hits the spot, and they get the exact idea of why I was not very happy with the stay at a Wyndham property in Milwaukee. A dead body and a hype and a heroin addict at the hotel. And a hotel which is in the center of OD, in the OD center of the overdose center of Milwaukee. Let's just say, moving forward, I will never, ever, 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 ever forget to look at the reviews. Ever in my life will I forget to do that.
Hey, you know what? To be honest, we don't know. Milwaukee, even from that point, even looking around, I'm like, man, this is kind of a nice area. But you pointed out the fact that there are multiple projects
across the street,
surrounding the area that we were.
Like across the street.
Area that we were. So I mean, there was a lot of ins and outs. Like, that wasn't my first time in Milwaukee, and I experienced something similar to the shoeless man that you experienced. So honestly, when I showed up, I thought Shawn was bullshitting. I thought it was a whole lot. I thought he was just joking. I knew it was a little rough, but I didn't know it was like, no, there's a dead body being rolled outside right now. Like, it's like, are you here yet? We got to go to the game. Like, yeah, it was quite a rush. I'll just say that.
It was, and then trying to call during the game, trying to get a hold of people. I'm like, you know what? They're going to send an email. We'll definitely let them know we were not happy with that situation, and I need to stay somewhere else, dude. Bump this.
Oh, next time we're staying downtown.
So from now on. So moral of the story is, I'm gonna look right into the camera. Moral of the story is, if you ever go to Milwaukee, and by the way, Milwaukee is a beautiful town. Beautiful town. We found and one of my friends from CrossFit, her and her boyfriend came up and they hung out and they stayed at the same hotel. They stayed at the same hotel because I recommended it to them. Like, oh, there's a hotel I'm staying at, blah, 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 blah. So they got a room there too. You best believe I called her. I was like, I am so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. G, I'm sorry. Her name's Galia. And Galia and Louie. Shout out to G and Louie for coming up for my birthday. I was like, G, she's like, what? What happened? And I told her what happened. She's like, you have to be kidding me. And here's how I know. This is how I know Galia is she's straight up. She's a G. She was like, I was like, so if you want to look for a hotel, fine. But right now I'm having trouble finding another hotel. She's like, that's kind of fucked up. She goes, but we've stayed at worse. We've stayed at worse. Yeah, we're okay. I'm like, you go, G. Just make sure you got your strap in. And Louis, he does CCP, conceal and carry. So he's like, we're good. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. So yeah. So from now on, we're staying down in downtown Milwaukee because the next day went to a brunch with Louis and G, and they have a nice little Milwaukee market. If you follow me on Facebook, you saw I knew they have a picture of the Fonz. If you're a certain age, you know who the Fonz is. Okay, Arthur Fonzarelli. And so we took pictures over by the Fonz. Dude, this shit was dope. Milwaukee's a great town, and so from now on, I am definitely staying only downtown Milwaukee. I'm not staying in northern Milwaukee, okay, or the north side of Milwaukee. I'm staying downtown Milwaukee, and I highly suggest you do the same. That was the start of my 50th birthday weekend. Dead body and a heroin addict. What could go wrong from there?
Well, the Sox lost, so that's what went wrong from there.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That was not fun. They only salvaged one. Dude, 3 hours has come and gone. Holy cow. What a phenomenal show. Man, I want to thank our guest, Zach Pearson from thebearreport.com, calling in, talking Bears before he headed up to Hallis Hall for practice. And I want to thank our new dynamic duo. They are the host of the new show on Shawn on SportsZone Chicago. It's going to be called Second City Sports. Okay, starting Monday, August 9th. They'll be coming on Mondays and Fridays immediately after this show, which means my ass going to have to be off before this because it's 12:02 now. They're going to be coming out from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock Central Standard Time on Mondays and Fridays right after us. They came on the show today to talk with us, get familiar with us and our fans, get our fans familiar with them, and have you guys see who they are so you can start watching their show as well and check them out. Definitely want to thank Elliot Baez, our executive producer, Clarence Council, our social media guy, my co-host of Ascension, Maya Kai, and of course this guy right here who makes everything run smoothly is my guy, Ivan Vargas. So all of us together, we're able to put together a fun and phenomenal show, capped off by the dead body and the heroin addict. So for Elliot Baez, Clarence Council, my co-host in Ascension, Maya Kai, the new dynamic duo, Sydney and Lakina, and my guy, Ivan Vargas.
Hey, guys, check out Helltech Hall tonight, 6 o'clock to 7:30. And then check out Jawar Hart from 8 to 9 right after we're done with Helltech Hall.
Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter. Okay, I'm sorry, Facebook and Instagram. We're at SportsZone Chicago. On Twitter, we're at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI at SportsZone Shy. Have a phenomenal day. It's not as hot as I thought it would be, but you know what? Who knows? We'll see. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But listen, we got to run. I got 2 more words for you, folks. We out.